That's the angle, huh?
What's that?
That's the angle?
Well, I don't know if that's the angle or not. That would be...
Well, hey everyone, what's going on? We're working on an F-150, but not just any F-150. This is a 2021 F-150. So we're going through all the motions and figuring out all the differences and having a blast. Just have to say that so much. Fernando already he's got this door done, which we can tell by the dead sound that it has. This he just finished. So we're going with a set of Focal K2s. This is all ground zeroed up. And well, obviously, let's take a look at the truck because there are a few things that are different. Now you have this giant screen in the dash. It still has a BO, which we've already swapped out for an audio control badge because that's just ugly. We'll get to the doors in a second as far as those go. But let's take a look behind the seat because I feel like that is where the magic is happening in this. All right, give me a second. So if you've seen the videos before, which most of you probably have, you'll notice immediately that like there's a whole lot of amplifier missing here. It's tiny. It's maybe, I don't know if it's half the size, but it's pretty close to half the size. The nice thing is that the Zen A to B still works on this. The only difference is the plug is a little bit different where this notch is a little bit off. So you do have to sand like a 1/16 of an inch away, but then it plugs right in and it works perfectly. You can also still use the PAC-T harness so you can get all your speaker wires. The center channel and the subwoofer have switched and it's a single voice coil subwoofer now, which I'm keeping out of frame on purpose. But otherwise, everything is the same. The colors are the same. It's just they changed the harness just a little bit, but we still have this giant mounting bracket. But you'll notice right here, normally that subwoofer would start right there. It's not, because Harman who owns Bang & Olufsen, has done some really strange stuff. You guys ready for this? The ground point's probably still the same right here, but we're gonna go to the battery because we got a lot of power we're putting in here. That is the subwoofer. All right, here's my hand. This is it. This is how weird single voice coil. This is, yeah, if you'll notice there is a power wire running through here. Somebody did a spectacular job putting an amp in. Yeah, look at that. We got some cool S&I 35. Like, could you get any more 1990s, guys? And an amplified output at that. I'm sure in a couple months this would have caught on fire. Or at least the amplifier would have blown up because there's no load resistance on it or anything. But here you go. This is the sub. This is like a pillow in front of it. I'm gonna take it apart tomorrow just because I want to see what it is that's in here. But it's like it's this deep. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, look at that. Is that not the silliest thing you've ever seen? I mean, don't get me wrong. It probably works okay. We didn't get to hear it because it was already disconnected because somebody did this to it. And yeah. Okay, so we won't even get into that, but I'm curious because I mean Harman does a pretty decent job with that OEM bass link. Exactly, right? That's what it is. It'd be nice if there was a handle here and we could pull it out and be a nice Bluetooth speaker. That would be awesome, right? All right, so these are the doors. So this is what they've done to the door as far as it has this cool logo, and there's a reason why the logos are here, which we found out. But 1/2-inch spacer, speaker fits in there perfect. Let's take a look at what we got going on. So this was Fernando's idea. He made me work on this for a while. So we wanted to cover up that BO logo. So this is gray acrylic here that we spray painted the inside black. All right, so let's just back up a little. Let's take a whole picture of this door first, all right? So I don't know what kind of material this is, but here's one material here. Here's some 2 material, wood grain, silver 3 material, shiny plastic 4 material, a different silver 5, leather 6, plastic 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 different materials on this door right now. So adding 2 more ain't gonna hurt it. But this gray matches this very closely, even because of, but let's take a look at the pieces and you'll kind of get a better idea what's going on here. Oh yeah, great idea, Fernando.
Did you say 10?
What? 10. Yeah, I counted 10.
What?
Yeah, I counted 10. So what we have is we started out with this. So this is the gray acrylic. Oh, sorry, too close. This is the gray acrylic here. And then it gets painted. The inside gets painted and this gets peeled off, and that ends us up with this. And then this is the actual piece that goes into the door. And so that would snap into here like that. And then once it all goes together, we take body molding tape and cover up the whole back. This stuff right here covers up the whole back and peel it off and it sticks in. And what you end up with is this. Now, this was the first prototype, and if you notice, the grill, it's over here, and it would sit on the door and it would be like, yeah, how cool is that? Well, it was like kind of cutting a hole in the door for the tweeter before you closed it, and realized that the reason why they put the BO here is because this is the dash, so you couldn't see the Focal logo with the door closed. So that meant we had to move it. So this was the final product that we ended up with. So this is the driver's front door. The nice thing too is you can see these grills come off, so it's really nice. But that is the front door, and then the front door we already have done. I thought it was a gold label. That looked kind of cool. No, it's silver. So here's the front door. So there you go. We added in the shiny. He liked the shiny instead of the flat, but there's flat in there. It's just the contrast of the 3 colors, and seems how it's like there's so many colors that are just contrasting surfaces. We wanted to kind of keep our logo doing the same thing, and that's what you end up with. So neat, right? And then the speaker bracket is the standard, you know, F150 shiny acrylic speaker bracket for those. There's the Zen. Yeah, that's that. Oh, tweeters. Let's talk about tweeters. Let me find the tweeters. Where did I put the tweeters? Tweeters are cool. So they've changed the tweeter. Yeah, here we go. So they've changed the tweeter location. Give me 1 second. All right, we don't want to listen to the TV. All right, so if you're familiar like with what the F-150 looks like, this looks like the previous body style F-150. So they've gone, instead of having that grill right here, they've gone back to the old school F-150 look and made the hole bigger. That was the other problem with the older one, is that was a little tiny hole. So this is a giant hole. They've also made this all one piece now. So it's not 2 pieces where you have a clip here and a clip here. It's all one big piece that you start on the bottom. This is the factory notch that they have. And what you do is you just kind of push like this, which will bring this up, which allows you to then pull it all off. And then there's like 10 clips that hold it on. This, however, is a total change. So you have, it's a 3-position mount here, 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 and they use a pretty big tweeter. So this is the Focal already in there, and it just snapped into place. We didn't have to do anything. The grill is also screwed into the same holes. You can see that that yellow K Kevlar tweeter in there. What we did have to do was, which we went way excessive on it. You could easily have just put some foam here to hold the tweeter in place, or some backing of some kind, because there's about, where the clips snap onto the tweeter and where the lip on the Focal was, there was about an 1/8 inch space. So we cut out a very thin 1/8 inch spacer that went onto the back of the tweeter and held it in place. I think I've already oh, here you go. So these were the prototypes, just to give an idea. So this is all we needed, was just something to go around the tweeter and fill that gap between where the factory lip on the tweeter was and where the clips were coming on. So we made these, a couple different ones, because when you're dealing with something that's this small, you're going to get shrinkage. I know, right? You'll get shrinkage from just the heat of the laser. So even though you take callip measurements, they're going to be wrong. So you have to cut a few of them, and of course then you get it wrong, and it's so thin. It just takes one, and then it's just like, I mean, look how tiny. It's just so thin, and then it'll break. So we added that to it to lock the tweeter in place. Well, fuck, those are the full cal K2s. And so with the grill off, we can now take a look, and Fernando's figuring out where he needs to cut the fast rings because we want to remove all of this. But yeah, so that's kind of nice, is we can actually see where the fast rings go. So I like that. Oh, hold on. Yeah, got it. All right. And there you go. So there it is again. So now he can come in here and he can cut these areas out. So you're really liking the new removable grill, right?
Yes, that's so much better.
So much nicer. For power, so what this is getting for the rest of the stereo is going to keep that Phoenix Gold amp that's in the back, but we're going to run it active off of the D6-1200. So we're going to come out of the Zen A to B into the 6-1200, and then out of the 6-1200 into the Phoenix Gold. We'll pull the Phoenix Gold up out of that footwell or the area there and mount it in the back where it's supposed to go. I tell you what, Bobby, as soon as I'm done with this, I'll go check for you before I forget. But yeah, so there we go. So I got one more to make and I'll be all set. I think I got one more to make. Where'd it go? Either way, I'm gonna lose my mind here. I don't know where it went. Oh, there it is. It's sitting right here. I put this on top of it. Duh. So what did I do with the logo? Yeah, I know, right? Oh, I think I took it over here. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't think that's it. So anyways, that's what we got going on right now. That's what's going on in this 2021 F250. It's gonna sound sick. What sub is he doing? Thank you. That's as always. You guys are right there with what sub is he doing? What did I do with the full cal logo? Crap. Oh, I'm painting it. Jesus. Duh. Okay, here you go. So he already had the JL Stealth box, and so he's gonna keep this. So he's got some of the big dog JLs in there. So that's what's gonna go up underneath the seat. This was already plain, and he was gonna have, yeah. He once he saw what he's like, no, we're done. We're gonna take it somewhere else. Glow 4 is the major tools when you know how to use it. I mean, yeah. So here's our straight. We've had this in the video. This is our spray booth. It's just an old box Stinger roadkill. But yeah, so here's the logo painted and it's almost dry. We use the SEM vinyl dye, this stuff, because it dries in like 5 minutes and it's all set and ready to go. I hate it when I do that. What Phoenix Gold amp is that? Still driving back? I don't know, Christian. It's just one of their random sub amps that they've made. You thought that's to check out the Pioneer? Oh yeah, I will definitely. I mean, the thing is it probably sounded fine for what most people want. I mean, let's be honest. We've seen in the last couple, labs that we've done with these weird things.
Where's the grill?
It's right there. You can put it on. I'm done with it. We've just seen some weird concoctions that actually put out bass. I mean, like that Alpine DSP thing and then all the JBL stuff. So I'm sure it's quite nice. What are your thoughts on DS18? Yeah, nice stuff. It's the other Oklahoma brand. So definitely find a dealer because that's the only way you're going to get your hands on that stuff. I thought they were kind of personally challenged on the phone, but whatever, not everyone has a bad day, I guess. That is an awesome sound. All right, let's go back through here. Looks like better imaging probably too. Oh yeah, no doubt. Imaging is definitely going to be better because now it's aimed, the tweeters are aimed right at you like they were previously. So, I mean, to me, I think they did a much better job. It's just anytime you come back into it and you're like, oh, I gotta, you know, because the old tweeters, we had those things figured out. These things are going to be, you know, you can get a better idea of that mount. It's just kind of odd. But thankfully, it's a big tweeter, or I'm sorry, it's a big mounted tweeter. The tweeter's still kind of small. And we'll be able to... I keep tripping over this. This is like the 10th time, which would be smart to move. So we needed a floor jack. Fernando's been bugging me to get him a floor jack. So I bought it, and I left it here after I put it together, and I've tripped over it and kicked it. So I need to move it because I'm gonna break my foot like I've done many times. For basic, Pioneer is advertising a Tesla, so power requirements are spacious. I'm gonna check that out. Anything fit behind the back seat for sub along with the back wall. So the space behind the seat is identical to the previous model. Like, it's the same amp rack, it's the same everything. It's just now, instead of having a real subwoofer, it's got this space heater or whatever that is. So they haven't changed anything back here. They might have added a bolt. I mean, I haven't tested fit the amp rack yet, but it looks like it's going to be fairly similar to what we've used in the past. So we'll know a little bit later. Anyone talks about bass, but it's hard to see loud mid-range. Another question, is mid-range best for doors than mid-bass? No, I mean, I want a mid-bass in my door. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with a mid-bass in my door. Mid-range, you'd probably want to go up as high as you can, not down low, or you'd want to aim it at yourself. What about new radio? Does it support Apple CarPlay wireless? Yes, it does. And according to the owner this morning, it sucks. He said it's like some days works, some days it don't. So he said when I left my house, because we were talking about that, because his friend was with him who we're going to be doing a stereo with too. Who has a Mustang, and I was like, the only reason why you'd swap out your factory radio in the Mustang is to do wireless CarPlay. And he's like, oh, wireless CarPlay, it's terrible. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Mine worked all the time. And he goes, well, it must just be a Ford thing. And I was like, oh. But yeah, I mean, we'll fire it up and take a look at it. How busy is the week this week? Busy, because we'll be working on this for the next 3 days, and then I don't know what comes after that. And it's always pressure. Get it done, get it done. Facebook show at 6:30 today. Of course, the Facebook show is at 6:30 today, and we got an amazing topic for you. I haven't showed you the slides yet for the PowerPoint, as it were, for the today's topic. I'll let you guys know. Today's topic is load resistors. We're gonna educate you guys on what a load resistor is. So we're gonna talk about why you need a load resistor, what a load resistor is, what a resistor is. So it's going to be fun. For those of you guys who haven't tuned in to the live show in a little bit, we've changed it. So at 20 minutes, we go over an educational thing to talk about a cool topic. And then at 40 minutes, we do something cool with Dean and Fernando, which we have the Nick Apicilla box up front, sitting down, heavy as hell. And so we'll open that up and take a look at that. Want mid-range 9-inch kick panels. There you go. Yeah. What down firing box did you do for the L7T last week? Is it ported? It is not ported. It is sealed. It's something that we have made here. It's the same one that we designed it when we got the woofers in to put in Haley's car. And then we just have one of our guy that builds boxes for us just build them, and that's it. Oh, 6:15. Hey, listen. 6:15. I got to go. We got to get the show ready. Head over there in a couple minutes, and we'll see you then. So make sure you head over to Facebook. Boom. Bye, guys. The party.
Always late.
I'm never late to the party. I'm always the first one there and the last one to leave, whether I want to be or not. Because Sue's got to be like, can I help with cleanup? Can
I like that. That's nice.
Can I help with setup?
Yeah,
what do you want us to bring?
Yeah. No, I'm always late to the party.
You're 100% always late to the party.
But I want the party to be until like 5 in the morning.
But everyone wants you to leave because the party's over.
The party just started. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's just...
Not a chance. No party happening at 3 o'clock in the morning in my world.
What were you?
What's up from Colombia?
Hey.
How's everybody doing on this wonderful Tuesday? All right, so day 2 of the 2021 F-150 is going on.
It is going on.
Fernando is almost done with the sound treatment. He just got to finish up this door and put the speaker in. You ain't done.
I'm done.
So that's the last door. He already did the door panel, so that already has the ground zero kit on it. So this is already in place. Now, one of the things that they did this year on the F-150, which we're gonna put back on, this is a really cool thing because they obviously realized that everyone was complaining about road noise and whatnot. So this is the mat that usually comes on these doors, but they see this little spot here. So what they normally do is they normally burn these into the door panel. This year they didn't do that. They actually have these cool clips that line up with this clip. And it's also usually just this piece of white insulation. But this year, they have one piece of white insulation, one piece of rubber. This is just a piece of rubber mat and a second piece of insulation. And it sits over the door here. The other thing that they added, which is this. Now, the reason why this is kind of like, oh, bummer, is if you want to do the sound block panels. So let's go back over here to where we were talking about. Hey, Bobby. Where we were talking about. So like that area right there, which you've seen us make panels for. If you want to cover that panel and make it solid, you are going to have to remove that off of the door panel, because what they've done, as you can see here, this is the vapor barrier that covers it. You see now where it has this area that's raised? Well, that is because the door panel now goes into that hole there, and it does it in two places. It does it here for whatever reason, and it does it here. So that basically means that if you want to block this area off, you're gonna have to do some work. But with the added double pieces of insulation and the big rubber mat, that is also covering that area. So this is that area where that goes. So you have, I think you're gonna be fine. You have adequate soundproofing because this sits right up against the door panel. Like there's no wiggle room, there's no this, there's nothing. It just goes right onto the door panel like such. Over here is the amp rack that's going to go in there. This is actually the same amp rack that fit in the previous models. They didn't change anything. This was the sub amp he had underneath the seat. He wanted to go with that. This is going to be the D6-1200 active on that K2 set that we're doing, the Zen A to B. If you've ever seen the video where we talk about the Zen A to B and how you have to flip it upside down, well, you don't have to now, because what they've done, hold on, hang on. Get this back down. If you'll notice, this is that blue micro USB. This is the Zen A to B cable. And normally it would plug into the amplifier down here. Well, as you can see now, it is super long because they're plugging it into the amplifier up here. That means that we have plenty of space to put it in the right orientation where it needs to go. They've also lengthened all the other cables. We still took them apart and put our own tape on them because we needed to separate it from the seat clip that's normally here, which is tucked into the seat in this area because it sticks out too far and gets in the way of the whole A to B and the amplifier and all that. So all this stuff has to be relocated down into the seat. Plenty of room to do that. The seat's like, you know, giant. So goes in there, no problems. But so they've moved the connection point up to here as opposed to down here on the 2020s. So they've added in a whole bunch of extra wire for us. So that's a big bonus. But the question I'm sure you're just dying to know is, tell me about that funky subwoofer we saw yesterday. If you guys didn't see it yesterday, go watch that. And why is there this piece of ground zero sound treatment here? I don't know, roadkill, really? Well, there's a giant hole there.
Did you make a hole?
I did not make a hole, but there's a giant hole there. So for those of you guys that didn't see it, let's take a look at the factory subwoofer. It is this guy right here. So this is the factory subwoofer. And the speaker is this shape. It's this whole shape right here. This is like a piece of foam. Think of it like an egg. So it goes down in like this, And it's so in the middle, it's about this thick, but on the edges, it scales down. So this is some form of a dampening cloth that they've put in here, which, you know, when you look through the side, like we can't see through it. Although you can see the woofer right there, that thing with the black line, that is the woofer. There's the surround. There's the dust cap right there in the center. But as you turn, you'll see how that sticks down in there. So it's open all along the side here. But the only thing we can think of is that this is some form of wave suppressor or cone noise that they're getting off of it. So they put this giant thing in front of it to kind of mellow that out. So it is this weird shape here, and it has about a 3-inch magnet on the back. Nothing too spectacular. And it's only about yay deep. Oh, actually, you know what? We can see the magnet in the back. So there's the magnet. So yeah, it's about maybe 3.5. You're like, wait a minute. How come I could see the magnet? What? Okay. This falls into why there's that hole there. This is a gasket, and there's a hole in the back side of the F-150. Now, as you can see, this little lip right here, this is an infinite baffle subwoofer that ports out to the back side of the F-150. So as you see the stool, I was right here. I crawled up here. I had Fernando put a light, and I could see him. He could wave his hand to me, and I could see him through there. So there's a giant hole now. And what we have is an IB woofer in your F-150. This is metal. Inside of this, there's also, what you can't see, there's also like another little mesh screen about this far in. That's the H brace right there, has that mesh screen. It sits in about 1 inch, is attached to that. But this just leans up against the back of the car like that. And then all the air, infinite baffle style, goes out the back. So that's why I feel this is on here, is to help control / suppress some of that. Jaguar does that, and the Pace SUV also. Go figure. Jaguar, Ford, I'm sure they still talk. But that's it. That's what you got going on. Who knows? It's pretty neat. It's pretty nifty for sure. It is a single voice coil. Wow, right? That's crazy. And it just looks stupid. Let's be honest, just looks stupid. But that's what's going on there. So if you ever get, or you have, or you're gonna do, there's a factory bolt that's right here. You got to put the bolt back in because that vents out to the outside, and or pull the grommet off, which just seems like a lot of nonsense. And of course, you have to patch this. There's a sheet of 1/8 inch ABS in there because otherwise you wouldn't be able to do this, and it will eventually leak. So if you're going to cover it, make sure you put a substrate behind it, then put your gasket on, and make sure you rub in there nice and good so that it doesn't leak into the car and cause a god-awful mess. Woo! Fun stuff, right, Fernando? Always fun. We have all the grills are done. So we got these on. This one here was the last one we hadn't done yesterday. So that's the branding there. Yay. And then back to the amplifier. So dual runs of 0 gauge because we just like to be thorough. Someone asked the other day in one of the many, because this is a mess. This is, you have the RCAs that come out of here. You have the RCAs that come out of here. They're never the right length. So it kind of depends. So here, this is a 3-foot RCA that's coming over here, and it plugs in right there. And that's what this is. And then you have the 5 RCAs that are coming out of this for front, rear, and sub. And I don't want to see a bundle of RCAs here. So what we do is, let me flip this over. Okay. Is we bring them out the back side. So they're zip tied into place. And then we make them as flat as possible. Each one of the RCAs is put together, color coded, and then shrink wrapped. So the whole connection has a shrink wrap on it. And then we attach it to the back of the board. This is giant, like 3-inch Gorilla tape. So that holds that all in. That way, if we do need to service it, you just peel it off and put a new piece on. But that's what you do. Here's the remote turn on, so that's easily done. So there you go. That's the secret. That's the trick. So like this RCA is a little bit long, so it loops back around, zip ties it with the rest of the bundle, and comes into here. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these questions. Hey Dean, I got an AVIC 85, a DSR1, ACM 4.300, want to run full active two-way components. Can you give me what would choice if it were your car? We seem like, I'm a Morel guy. So I like the sound of a big silk soft dome tweeter. So that puts me into Morel. Ground Zero does use a big silk soft dome tweeter, which we're getting ready to put into Fernando's car here shortly. So I'm really anxious to hear those. So we'll wait and see what those sound like before we pass judgment, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna sound amazing. Where should I set my subsonic filter at? I'm running dual ported. Man, there's some math to that. I gotta be honest with you, I just go with what sounds good. I start at 25 Hertz and kind of work up from there. Which is better, Kenwood or audio control D6? The D6 is gonna be a lot more power, a more in-depth product compared to that Kenwood. It's also like double the money, so I don't really think it's a fair comparison. You buy the Kenwood, which is right there, because it does AR and it comes with everything, and it's a nice system in the fact that it's a 10-channel DSP, which there again, the 61200 is only a 8-channel DSP. So there's different things you can do with each. So like this, I can go full active front, I can go full active front, meaning tweeter mid rear off of that, or I can go do a 3-way set, tweeter mid bass, and then I can run the rears off of a second amp through the DSP on this, and I can run the subs out of it. So it just depends what you're trying to do. One of the downsides to this is that you can only control it from a phone app, which is not necessarily a downside. It just depends on what you're trying to do. The D61200 does have a more in-depth DSP crossover than that does. But there again, that's not a good or bad thing. It's just comparing the two. 2018 Subaru Outback, not harming, going to reuse Helix V8 3-way active. Do I need to use a key lock or kiss load? If I keep factory 8-inch screen, if using key lock, do I need 2 front and rear? Yes. If you're trying to do front and rear, yes, they're both outputs are EQ'd, and both, if it's anything like the WRX that we just did, then you're gonna have an all-pass filter to bypass. Here's the thing. It depends on what your end result is trying to do. You're doing a 3-way active set, all right? And that we did a 2-way active set. The all-pass filter in that, because we were able to look at it on our RTA, was somewhere in the 350 to 400 range, which only affected our mid bass. Which you're like, oh my God, that's tragic. Not really, because the all-pass filter was already doing the work for us, meaning it was already aligning the mid bass to the center of the dash. It already had imaging because of the all-pass filter. That wasn't bad. So the tweeter, we could still do time alignment on because it's outside of the all-pass filter range. The mid-range, depending on where your all-pass filter fell in that, you could... So as you see, it gets complicated. So I guess the answer would be, yeah, just go with the key lock. And then you don't have to worry about any of that stuff because it can bypass up to 6 all-pass filters and make your life super easy. Yeah, so and if you want to do front to rear fade, then you're going to need 2 of them. As far as the kiss load goes, it wouldn't be a bad idea to throw it in there. Really all you need is like the LGD blue, greens, I think was the ones we ran in the last one. But the nice thing about the kiss loads is you can do 1 amp, 4 channel, call it a day, and be rocking and rolling. And as long as you got room for it, it's not a big deal. 2011 F150 navigation screen, LC7i, amplifier staying on after turning off truck. All right, that has to do with your signal sense, the GTO sense, and we talked about this last night pretty in-depthly. Cars like this have amplifiers and they have body control things. They have all kinds of things that are turned on, all right? Your radio screen is the only thing that's shutting off. It's not the actual radio. The radio tunes on as soon as you unlock the car, all right? Because it's getting ready to do chimes and play music and do all these things that need to be done. If you want an actual remote turn on, you can go over into the fuse box over here and you can find there's a fuse for the, like the MyLink or something like that. That is the only one that's controlled through ignition. You have to make sure your doors are closed, or I'm sorry, you have to make sure you have to test the doors open and closed to make sure that you get the right one. But there is a fuse to do that. The other thing you can do is you can get a Stinger makes one that'll sense 12 volts in the car. The only problem with that is that the engine has to be running in order for the stereo to stay on. Needless to say, it's doing what it's supposed to. It's not hurting anything by doing it that way. And as long as you don't open the doors and you let the car to go to sleep, it's going to fall asleep after 3 minutes anyway. So it's 100% normal. Thanks, Dean. I'll do that. I hate math. I don't. It's just, it's one of those things. If you don't have a calculator, don't give me that. Who is making a harness for the new Colorado? I found a company who makes it. It's like $170. You don't need that. You can go over to Metra and pick up. They make amplifier extensions that'll allow you to do it. You can get them for $30. Watching YouTube in the background, and your Instagram is here. I know, right? Any tips on fuse panel and amp panel? If you're gonna make one for underneath the hood, you have to use some form of ABS. We only use 1/4-inch ABS for underneath the hood. Nothing thinner than that. You could always go thicker, but it has to be something that's able to withstand heat. All of this underneath your hood, your engine is all made out of ABS. So you want to use ABS match for match. I mean, Jesus, these are ABS even. So blown PVC or something like that is not going to work underneath the hood because it will just melt. It's a low temp product. So we typically just will use ABS. As far as the amplifier goes, when it comes to an amp rack, you can make it out of pretty much anything you want depending on where it needs to go. ABS, Sentra, Paleolite, blown PVC, take your pick. Just make sure wherever you're going to put it, everything clears the amplifier. So make sure the seats slide, the seats go up, whatever needs to happen happens. That's really about it. I mean, there's no like magic. Okay, me and Paul were talking K2 in the rear also, or flax be fine. That's entirely up to you as far as what you like. I mean, you will save a couple $100 by going with the flax over the K2s. However, it's a different animal. Those tweeters aren't anything alike. I personally feel if you're going to be doing K2, you should do K2 all the way around and don't settle. That K2, that Kevlar tweeter is a beast. And though the flax, that's a monster too, it's not a K2. So I would personally not mismatch those two series of speakers just because they are so different. Kenwood. Why do you need the LGDs on the Subaru? Watch last night's video. There were today's, for that matter. And fast forward to the 20-minute mark, and we talk all about LGDs and why we did those. However, because of the Starlink system in the Subaru, because it's an amplified output out of the Starlink, the factory amplifier requires some form of load, or it will shut off or do dumb things. So that's why we put them on there. Dean, what's Fernando got to clean the inside of the door before putting dampening on trucks that is 11 years old? Soap and water. I mean, we just use soap and water. Soap. I mean, nothing really spectacular. It's dirt. I mean, it's not like it's just dirt. Dirt comes off. It's inside of a door panel, so it's not like it's seen anything other than dirt. So you just clean the dirt off. LEGs for my Audi non-B&O. I mean, technically you could probably get away with the blues just because your amplifier is a little bit smarter than everyone else's, but I mean, worst case, you do green. Okay, let's fast forward here. Tell Fernando to get that truck back together so you can listen to the... Oh, yeah. Well, we got a long way to go before doing that. Okay, hey, Dean, tweeter question. Oh, hold on. Tweeter question. Given different crossover points at different brands and style of tweeter, how does that affect the sound signature? All right, so there's basically two forms of tweeters out there. All right, everything is going to kind of fall into these two categories. You have a hard and you have a soft. All right. Okay, don't go there. A hard dome or inverted dome typically is a little what they call brighter. Some people call it harsh. Some people will call it precise. There's all different kinds of words to describe a hard dome tweeter as there are to describe a soft dome or an inverted dome or whatever, There's also electrostatic, but those typically aren't in car audio in a great sense. So there is a third, but it's such a small percentage that not a lot of people have those, so we're not going to talk into that. But anyways, back to the soft dome. Some people will say that they don't get bright enough, or they don't, it's those two camps. Some people say the soft dome sounds more realistic, more natural. Some people say no, the hard dome sounds more realistic, more natural. When you look at a horn tweeter has inside of the horn somewhere is some form of a dome that is creating the sound that is then horn loaded and pushed out. So it really just depends on the type of music you listen to. Now, as far as the crossover points go, those typically have to do with how the tweeter's made, how loud the tweeter gets at what frequency, as well as power handling, phasing with the mid-range. There's a lot of things that go into designing the tweeter as well as the crossover point. But the crossover point has to do with what the FS of the tweeter is. And how much higher than that you want to be. So, for example, when you look at a Focal tweeter, they like to be 5,000 hertz, which is like crazy. But that's what they sound best at. And the Morel tweeter can obviously play a lot lower, down to like 2,200 hertz, sometimes 24 to 2,200 hertz. It's just a different mindset. When you look at it on an RTA, believe it or not, they look very similar. As far as what they're putting out there. So I don't really see it as a difference. I see it as, it's not necessarily the crossover point that is our big difference. It's the type of tweeter that it is and what it can do. Both of them will get loud. So take the loudness out of the equation. Both of them will be like, oh my God, that's so loud. Loudness isn't the issue. It's just the sound at that loud volume. They're totally different. Thanks using ABS for both. Perfect. Okay, which speaker do you recommend for Focal RSE 165s? I don't know what the RES 165 is. K2s, FLACs, integration. That's plug and plays. That's all I know. You got FE and FXE. That's about it. Morel Maximo 6 or Kicker KS. And don't forget the Maximus. There's also a Maximus. The Maximus is quite a unique speaker in the line. It's a great bargain speaker. It only comes in a 6.5 component, but you can also look at the Maximus. But yeah, I'm there again. Hard tweeter, soft tweeter. I'm a Morel guy. You're gonna put anything you want against a Morel, and I'm gonna pick a Morel. All right, it's just what's gonna happen. So it's not a fair comparison by any stretch of the imagination. Haley has some KS in her car. Absolutely love the way they sound. We have the old ones. Now we have the new ones. The new ones definitely, in my mind, will make people more happy listening to them. They stage much better. They have a much higher frequency response than they had before, meaning it gets livelier faster. So they've definitely changed the speaker a lot. I'm more of a laid-back guy, like natural sound, like jazz, like pop, like music. I don't know. The Morel to me is just the go-to. But you have to be you, so don't necessarily buy a speaker because I told you to, unless you want to. I'm going to be doing those with the Focal K2s mid-bass up front. Perfect. What does it mean? I actually have no idea. I missed the Emmett K from Infinity. Oh, okay. Dean, you putting Emmett tweeters in your car? No. Elate tweeters, maybe?
What?
I have no idea what an Emmett tweeter is. Maybe I'm missing.
What?
I don't know. Emmett tweeter.
Well, the M300 has the Morel, the new one.
I have no idea. I don't know. I have elates. So whatever the latest elates were.
450, I think.
Okay. It's in the video, right? I don't know. Hey from Greece. What does the PEI mean? Because on JBL, I honestly don't know. I'd have to look that up. Thank you, appreciate it. How to tell if a passive crossover is blown? Multimeter? Yes, you could meter across the components and see what is going, see if the resistance is right. You can totally do that. Usually if the passive crossover is blown though, you can see it for sure. I've never been in a situation where you couldn't tell the passive crossover is blown. Sometimes if you can't see it on the top of the passive crossover, pull the passive crossover out and look at the bottom of the crossover. Because some passive crossovers use a double printed circuit board and there will be more stuff on the bottom. Sometimes there's traces in the bottom of the circuit board where they'll actually solder a trace in that is the coil. It's quite ridiculous to add resistance into the speaker. So always check the bottom of the crossover. Dean, all right. So you're saying that truck sub is just misapproved? I don't know. I guess. I mean, let's be honest, I don't think it's approved by anyone. Dean, if you had to choose a perfect setup, what would you go for? I would go for as much power as I could humanly possibly fit into my car. Power is key. I'd want big ass power. I don't care how many amps it takes to get there. I just want lots and lots and lots and lots of power. And some way to make it actually turn on would be nice too. But power to me is 100% what I want. Aside from that, I'm gonna go with some what I like to call right column shopping speakers, meaning I'm gonna buy some expensive speakers because the better the speakers are, the better the sound, the more power I give them, the better it's gonna be all the way around. I like to run my gains as low as humanly possible. So I want some right column badass speakers, the best speakers I can possibly afford. I want lots of power to power them, and I like big fat boomy bass. So whatever woofer I can grab that's going to give me the biggest, obnoxious, just ridiculous bass, and of course there'll be some form of harmonic restoration device like an epicenter or something along those lines that will give me that when I listen to my 80s and 90s rock music that has no bass, because I want big fat bass. So that's it. Now, whether I don't necessarily need to do an aftermarket radio if I have some form of integration, because that's not gonna matter. But yeah, that's it. Hey, there they are. I wondered where they went. Okay. How come you guys use the pack kit instead of the iData on the F150s? Well, this one we didn't. We used iData. We used cause all right, you're talking about the full size radios. It just depends on the car. It just depends. Most of the time, if iData makes an option, we're going to use the iData. I don't really think, when it comes to kits, we're real limited on what iData has. So the iData MTF1 kit only works if there's an 8-inch screen in the dash. Most of the F-150s that we've packed kits on have 3-inch or the little 5-inch screen in the dash. So you have to work with what they give you. But if there is a 8-inch, then, because then when you look at like the pack 8-inch, it's just, so gets ridiculous. All right. I have a Rockford Fosgate P308 factory head unit. Would I benefit from using a LOC such as the LC2i or the Kicker key lock? Or should I just go high level with it? Just go high level with it and call it a day. The whole idea behind that is to be as super simple as possible. We've never done anything more on those than put in the factory high level to low level, unless we're doing it in a system that has, which there again we've never done because we would never sell that if we're putting it in a system that has like 20 volts or something, because it just wouldn't sound good. But no, the idea behind the P300 is just install it. It's super easy, simple, get bass, call it a day, and rock on. It will sound plenty good. There's no reason to go with something like a key lock or something like that, because the subwoofer is not capable of the resolution you'd be trying to give it anyways. It literally just makes bass, and that's it, and it doesn't care. It has very limited bandwidth that it will create it, and it just boom, it's like, oh, I love it, and that's pretty much what it does. I swapped radios and went to a high voltage preamp output. Can I just turn the levels down on the stereo instead of setting gains again? I don't have an SMD1. So the only way you could do that is if you knew what the output voltage was on the previous radio. All right, you would have had to have done this beforehand, but you could have done this pretty easy beforehand, because what you would do is you would put the volume of your radio. So if you have your amp set up and everything's rocking and rolling, you're like, damn, this is great, I'm happy. All right, go to your old system and you'd set, your EQ to 0, so that that's the only thing you need to set to 0. All right, and you'd say, okay, disconnect the speakers from the amplifier, put my multimeter on the output of my amplifier, let's say a left channel for front, left channel for rear, sub, whatever. And you'd play a 1,000 hertz test tone, or you could play a couple different test tones. I'd play 1,000, I might play 8,000. Either way, what you'd do is, 1,000 I guess it'd be fine. Play 1,000 hertz, take the voltage reading. So let's say you put out 30 volts at 1,000 hertz at X volume. No problem. Take that radio out, put the new radio in, put the CD in, play 1,000 hertz, turn it up, set your gain on your amplifier to where it says 30 volts, and there you go. You're back, rocking and rolling, because we know that amplifier will put out clean up to 30 volts. So you would have been okay to do that. Now you're just gonna wing it. If you want to wing it, you can wing it. So if you knew what it sounded like before and that was max volume, you could always try that and just hope no one goes above it. Hi. Okay. Have you ever used a 4-channel to power 4 mids and 2 tweets? How would you set the crossover on the amp accurately? So I'm guessing you would want to use channel 1 and 2 for the tweeters and 3 and 4 for the mids. If that's the idea, the only way you can do that on a 4-channel amp is the amplifier would have to have what we call a 10 times multiplier switch on it, meaning you would have to be able to cross the tweeter over high enough. Most 4-channel amplifiers don't have that capability. They're not made to be an active system output like that. If you kind of want to get an eye, I was gonna say you go back and watch 2 weeks ago on the Facebook show, we talked about bi-amping. We kind of dug into that a little bit. But the amplifier would have to have a high enough crossover on it to do what you're trying to do, and then you need a bandpass crossover for the mid-range, because you have to limit the mid-range. So you need to have, let's say, a crossover that goes up to 3,000 hertz on channel 1 and 2. Then you need a bandpass on 3 and 4 that will only allow the mid-range to play up to 3,000 and then down to, let's say, 120. Without that, you're pretty much you need some form of a passive crossover, or you need some form of an output. An external crossover, maybe a DSP or something like that. You could get into something like a mini DSP, DSR1, a ground zero mini DSP. There's plenty of DSPs out there. Audio Dynamics has a pretty affordable one, right around that $300 price point that will allow you to do what you're trying to do as far as passive crossovers. So, all right, with that, we're going to call it a day. I got to get back to work, right, Fernando?
That is correct.
Because he's getting that door on, which means I got to get those amplifiers mounted in there so we can get these power wires run so we can get this thing done and out of here. So thank you so much for tuning in. This has been 5 Minutes of 5-Star. You guys have a great rest of the day. We'll see you later. Say bye, Fernando.
Bye, Fernando.
He does that every time. See ya. I don't know. Oh, really? We got one of those?
Of course.
All right, we're going to have to wait on that because I'll have to help you. I was kind of hoping you didn't have something like that. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And the F-150 2021 adventure is over. We just got done doing our final listen. The tune is done, as it were. So basically the process is like this. I will sit here and struggle and blood, sweat, and tears and out of my ears and get it the way I feel it should be. And then I'll listen, and I'll hop in and out of it a dozen times and listen to it and check and recheck. And then when I'm done and I'm like, all right, then I'll bring him in and let him sit because his ears are way better than my ears. The whole age thing. And so I'll let him sit in it, and I just got the thumbs up saying it's cool. We played with it a little because it's never 100% perfect. Morel is in the house. But it's done, so let's give it one final tour of this. So here we go. The battery is done. and Fernando wanted this fuse holder made. So we got the audio control, the fuse, the 5-star logo, giant 0 gauge, wraps around. The 2021 has a different battery layout than the previous, 2020 and back. Normally the 2020 is perfectly flat like this. You come down, you mount your fuse holder, you loop it around. This one, it made more sense. This actually comes further into the engine now, so you can tuck the wire up in further. Do a slight S here, bring it around the front, and that way you can easily get your 0 gauge in. If this was 4 gauge, it would be okay to kind of do a bend, but with 0, this stuff doesn't cooperate as much as you want it to. So we found that the ground is about 17 feet from where we mounted it, and this would have been exactly 19 feet. So if you're curious, that's what you need. The grommet over there where you come through the firewall is the exact same. Same thing. So that didn't change. Good news there. There is a grommet over here, but it's still a pain in the butt to go through, so I would stay as far away from that as you can. And that's per Fernando, because the original install, they had gone through that grommet, and I was like, oh, and he's like, no, don't get your hopes up. It sucks. So they have this cool little panel right here that is perfect for a bass knob. And so we thought, oh, you got to take all this off to get, no, actually there's just 4 little clips. So this little bass, this little knob here, you can, if you can get in there, there's 4 clips, 2 here, 2 here. You can pop this off and put in your bass knob. So we made this cool laser panel. This is the ARC3, so this has the push button. You got your blue LED, your red LED. So those go right there. There's another look at the doors. Looking all Fernando sexy. A closer look. Okay, so moving into the back. I always ask about subwoofer. There's a JL Stealth box he brought in, so he has a JL Stealth box up underneath there. And then the amplifiers are in. The Zen A to B cables are longer now, so you don't have to flip it and do all that. It actually will, this is the factory hole where it's designed to come out. I don't know if I like that, but it's what it is, and it works. So we can actually use it the way we're supposed to now, which is great. Power distribution, all that. And we made another little 5-star logo to go onto the bracket. Instead of lasering into the panel, I honestly got ahead of myself and forgot to do it. So I just cut one out after the fact. But that's what it looks like. And it covers up those 2 factory holes that were there. So the one for the top of the subwoofer and then the big plastic piece. So that's kind of nice. You don't have to see those anymore. But there's that. So there is your Zen. Oh, also, I'm thinking they did a software update for the Zen A to B. One of the big problems we used to have with that, and it's just how it works, is that which you guys ask a lot this week, is when the car turns off, like my amplifier doesn't turn off, and it does weird things, and it turns on, and so one of the problems that we used to experience with the Zen A to B is that when the car is going to sleep, this thing turns on and off, turns on and off, turns on and off, and it would keep waking up the amplifier as it turns on and off. I think they might have listened and finally put a delay in it to where it has to be on for a certain amount of time before it triggers the remote turn on to turn on the amplifier, because we've noticed it doesn't do that anymore. And once this turns on, there's like a 1, 2, 3 before the amplifier turns on. So I'm hoping that they took our advice, but it seems to be working a lot better than it had in the past. I don't know if it's because the 2021 software is better or if they actually pushed an update to it and fixed it. I didn't check. We just figured out that it was working way cooler than it has in the past. Not that that was ever a problem. It was just more me being annoyed with it than anything else, because we've put in tons of these things and it's never been an issue. So I like it when they make cool changes. This still bugs me. But it's okay. It's okay. I'll get past it because it fits. So that's really all that matters. Back doors. That's what you look like there. Did I forget anything?
Did.
I know, it's like it just feels like it takes a lot longer. It's like, hey, look at this, and it took 3 days.
Yeah, pretty much.
Love your attention to detail. Yeah, and that's why it takes so long.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You know, like you spend so much time trying to.
Here it is. So, thanks to COVID, and all wires and everything being short, the audio controls that normally come with the blue cables that you've always seen are now coming with a monoprice cable.
Have you ever had an issue with the D6-1200 going back to a previous tune preset after turning off the vehicle?
Yes, if you don't save it, then yes, it will do that.
Make sure you have the latest.
You know what?
Update.
I need to plug this back in.
Right.
Because I have to go and set presets 1 through 2 and 3.
6.
So let's plug this in and I'll show you the process real quick. Here, why don't you hold this, because I probably will do this quicker. I didn't say how much quicker. I just said I could do it quicker.
I don't know. Everybody's waiting.
That's okay.
Like, still waiting.
Oh, shut up. I can't see.
Yeah, exactly. Still waiting.
What the hell?
Everybody's waving and waiting.
Ah, there it is. Sorry, my eyes don't work the way they're supposed to. That's why I have a windshield on. This is the one downside of mounting the amplifier like this is, you could just put this in and leave it in. It's not going to affect anything. I just don't do that, because I don't want to tempt anyone to plug their product in.
Stick it in the hole, Dean. Come on.
Well, I can't see which direction it goes, so. There you go. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Still waiting. Bobby's still waiting.
Turn the car on. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, we're still waiting.
See if this is gonna wake up or. Oh, it woke up! Hot damn.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
I guess the build house that makes this doesn't know how to make buttons.
Okay, so hang on. Let me go outside.
Hold on. Okay, so we're gonna go here. Keys on, right? Yep. So the amp's up. Awesome.
All right, move the.
You do whatever you need to do. Get it however you want.
All right, guys.
You got the glare? You good?
Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna show you. All right. So here's the thing, where it says memory hold to store. I want to copy preset 1 to preset 2. Anytime you do anything on the settings on this, like you change anything, the first thing you want to do is press and hold, put 2 fingers on the trackpad like this, 2 fingers like this, and it's going to come up and it's going to ask you. You have to see a yes on the right side. If you see a no on the right side, you did it wrong, and I will show you what I mean. So there's yes. So now it's going to save it to there. If I do this, which it might not give me. All right, hold on, let's see. Let's go back to this. And let's hold it. I would see. Are you sure you wish to? Yes. All right, let's do that. So, okay, so that was 2 fingers. So there is an option where I always accidentally do it, where you can do a wrong setting and it won't come up. It'll give you a no here and a yes here. If you do that one, it's bad. It doesn't save shit. So make sure you press and hold 2 fingers on the keyboard on the right side, and then look for the right side yes and select yes. Do that after anytime you do a major change. So if you're gonna go in and you're gonna like tweak your settings, do a, like when you get done adjusting your tweeters, save it. Also, when you select here to save, so like this says save as, so we'll come over to save as, yes. And all right, so let's go to this. Today was the F150. So we'll say yes, save, say yes. All right, what that is doing, that is actually saving everything I've just done to the laptop. It's not saving it to the unit. So if I save it here, I just have the file that I can reload back onto it when I realize that I've shut it down and I didn't export it to, or finalize, as you would say if you're an Audison guy, to the unit. So if you don't do that before you shut it down, bye everything you just did. Bye bye.
So my system sometimes sounds different the next day after tune.
That is strange. That shouldn't make any sense.
You done?
Yeah, hold on, let me X out of here. Okay, now I'm done. That doesn't make any sense, because it shouldn't change like that quick between night and day and time. The only thing that would be weird is in the morning if you have a really exotic or expensive pair of speakers and they're not totally broke in yet, and now they've had time to cool, and because of that they're changing. You know, I guess I'd be curious is after you've played the system for 15-20 minutes, do they sound like they're supposed to? If they do, then you might not be totally broke in yet, and you just might need to play them a little bit longer until they've loosened up enough, and then you won't have that problem anymore. That's the only thing I can think of. It's kind of weird. I don't have a laptop. Can I use a Bluetooth module? Yes, you can buy the ACBT1 or whatever it's called. 24. Sorry, thank you. ACBT24, and you can do it from your iPad or your phone. Hey, Fernando just so happens to have one right here. But yes, ACBT24. I will say if you do want to use this, you're going to have to be a little bit more patient than a laptop because it's a little bit slower.
If you have an iPad, that will be better than your phone because it's just...
But it
works.
You do have to move just a little bit slower.
Yeah.
Just because of the communication between two. It drives me crazy. I can't operate like that.
Yeah.
Just to solve DSR1, every time I try to adjust the mid-bass crossover, the mid-bass sound goes out and won't come back until I pick another preset. So, the first question I'd ask before anything as a good troubleshooting person is, did you do all the updates? The current software on it is 1.9.4. If you opened it out of the box and installed it, I guarantee you it is not up to date because they're not up to date. They never ship up to date. They haven't shipped up to date in probably 4 or 5 months. Yeah. Because they're scraping the bottom of the barrel here to get the ones that they have. So the first thing you'd have to do, and now if you've done that, then obviously this doesn't apply to you, but you have to download the Rockford Updater and you have to update it. After you've updated it, before or after, it doesn't matter, then you have to download the iData Updater and you have to do both of those update, both for the Bluetooth at the bottom of the page where it says reflash the something firmware, and then you actually have to go in and program it for standalone. If you've done all that and you're still having issues, then there's something weird going on.
Oh yeah.
But more than likely, I'm guessing you probably haven't done all 3 of the updates because most people don't, and that's usually why they run into problems. And that's one of the things that I talk to them about all the time. And we're like, hey guys, this is stupid. And they go, yeah, we know. Tuesday. Yeah, okay, no problem, Bobby. Yeah, I'm not a fan of using the iPad to tune with it. Oh, it's just... I use butane power soldering iron. Not perfect, but it works. Definitely, nothing's perfect, but it works. I can't get the BT24 to auto connect for music, despite audio control saying it's the newest update should fix it. I don't use it a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I don't use it all that often. But if if try to get a hold of Matthew, and see if he can help you with that, because he's a wizard when it comes to this stuff. Yes, all updates are done. Okay, so if all updates are done, all right. Are you using an Android or an iPhone, I guess would be the next thing, because Android sucks when it comes to that. It just does strange things, but iPhone always works. It works better, I should say. Nothing is 100%. The crossover is kind of weird. So sometimes I'll, the crossover will lock up. Especially on bandpass, it seems to be high pass works fine, low pass works fine, but when you decide to pick a bandpass is usually the only time you'll run into oddities. And sometimes, you will have to exit to volume and then go back to it and it unlocks it. So if that's what you're experiencing, that's just a ghost in the machine, and that it will do from time to time. But usually once it starts working, it works fine after that point. It's kind of odd. Do you about the Nav TV for GM when it is coming out? Oh, the AVB that they just recalled? I don't know. Kind of sucks. Yeah. Oh well. Scroll up to my F-150 seat question, Dean. Does the seat hit the amp when it folds up? No. It rests on it, but it doesn't hit it. So here's it's a fabulous question, and we did mention it yesterday or Monday, so we'll go over it one more time. If you have the non-BO system, this is just a hole. There's nothing here. If you have the BO system, there's a giant plug that sits here, and then there's this monstrosity right here that sticks out up into this. What you have to do is relocate this down into the seat so this sits flush, and then you have to relocate this down to right here so it sits flush so that there's nothing right here. If you'll notice, there is a good 4.5 inches, 5 inches between the bottom of this to where the top of the amplifier goes. So from here, you're about 1.25 inches. So you do have to come down. This has to be 1/4 inch because anything bigger than that, like if you come out 1/2 inch, you have to go lower. So this is what I run. Now, when the seat is folded up like this, okay, the carpet is resting up against it, but the metal braces and nothing is touching it. It's just because it's carpet and it sags and it's droopy and it's all that. So like this is because it's just carpet, but it's not hitting this bar at all. And on the older versions, this bar was much meaner than this. On the other ones, it kind of would come out and like be nasty, and so sometimes we would actually come in and shave it down, which is what they're doing on this one. They've actually cut this down. You can see where they've notched it. So I don't know if they were thinking of us or just pure chance, but this was always the thing that scared me, and it never came close to this. Now when the seat is like this, it doesn't get anywhere near the amplifiers. Like you can literally see every part of the amplifier if you fold that seat down. So and we've put tons of stuff behind these seats, and I know a lot of other people have too. So there's plenty of room for this to work and not have any heating issues and stuff like that. Because remember, there's also holes here. So there's a hole there, there's a hole here, there's all kinds of stuff behind this. But yeah, you're good. Hey, from Calgary. Connecticut's in the house. EQ setting on my Sony head units are very limited. What are my options? I can't find the perfect EQ setting. You need a DSP then, right, Fernando?
That is correct.
You know, you're always going to be limited by what the radio offers to you. So it's not enough to get what you want. Then you got to move on to something bigger and badder and more fun. Because you've figured out what we call hitting the wall. Hitting the wall is when you've tapped out everything that you could possibly use.
So you gotta jump the wall.
And now you have to jump the wall. Or dig under it, whatever one works. Whatever works for you. Do you want a rag? Do you want the rag? Okay. Do you want a light?
No, I got it.
Okay. So when you hit the wall in anything that you do, you always have to move on to the next thing. In which case, now you should be thinking about a DSP. So now, if you just have a radio with no amplifiers, there's a couple amplified DSPs out there. Obviously, all the audio controls are nice. If you're looking to keep it simple. Like, I don't want to go crazy. I don't want to get into all this. I don't want to go mad, whack, crazy, y'all. Check out something like this. This is the JBL DSP 4086. It's an 8-channel amplifier with DSP built into it. You also have this, which is a 6-channel. This one's a little bigger. This is kind of more fun to play with. The nice thing about this is there again, once you hit the wall with power, you can use this as a line driver into a bigger amplifier because it's a small power. Think of it as if your radio, it's a little bit bigger than what's in your radio power-wise, but it's a full DSP. So you don't have to put a ton of stuff in there to run that into your car. Can you guys do a review on the Exxon 901.5? We've done a review. It's just been in with something else. I mean, is there any specific questions you have on it? Because I mean, it's a pretty straightforward amplifier. Comes with the bass knob now, but Hybrids or Virtus nanocarbons? I mean, if you have the budget and the depth, you go with the hybrids. For sure, not even a question. I use a benchtop Weller soldering iron. It's like 20 plus years old, still works. I guess there's a soldering question going on in the comments. I don't know. Hey Dean, I'm trying to decide on Alpine R-Type 6x9 coaxial or component 6x9s, which sound better. Okay, let's look at that one for a second. So in this particular vehicle, this is an F-150, as you can attest or guess at this point, has a 6x9 right here, and this is where the new tweeter is. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about those. So those are the new, that's what the new tweeter pods look like. The tweeter used to be here, but now they've moved it here, like in the older body style, so yay! Although it is still kind of aimed in a weird spot. Anyways, you put a big tweeter up there like these K2s, you don't have that issue. It does exactly what you want it to do. Now, if you have a place for a tweeter, okay, then the component is going to be the better move. If we were to just play these right here, the sound stage is going to be right across here. Okay, we can try as we might to elevate it up, but I think the highest we've ever gotten is somewhere in this area here. It just all sounds like it's coming from low. Now, if we put a set of tweeters here and aim them up, well, that would elevate the sound stage, but where these are going to set, and the tweeters down here, it's just going to keep everything nice and low. So by having the tweeter move up higher into the car, you elevate the sound stage up, and it just sounds like a much bigger amount of sound. So now you have this wall of sound that just coming at you. So which sounds better? Obviously the component sounds better than the coaxial. But that's my thought on that one. Thanks, you're welcome. What's needed to integrate amps and subs, speakers, and an 09 Accord keeping factory premium audio? If it's an 09, I think it's a variable voltage output from into the factory premium amplifier. You can easily test that by going to the amplifier that's either in the center console or the passenger kick panel. Take your digital multimeter and go to the output, or go behind the radio. If you can pull the radio out, you can go behind the radio and grab the speaker wire outputs, or signal wire outputs, because it's premium, and put your digital multimeter into the positive and negative, any one of the 8 speaker wire pairs, or 4 speaker wire pairs as it were, and turn your volume up and down. If the volume goes, if the numbers go up and down as you turn your volume up and down, then you have a variable voltage, and you just solder on some RCAs, and if you have a good enough amplifier, you can go right into it and you're all set and ready to go. Life sounds good. The 21 F150 BO with the Unleash has 3-way up front now. Ooh, really? Oh, so the Unleashed version of this. So it must be like the Explorer.
So that means they can put more L's. Unleash the music.
That's gonna suck.
What?
Why do we have to pull the doors off the Morel, off of the Explorers? I wonder if they put the tweeter here. I'll have to look at that.
So the one that we did, that was just...
We had to take the door off. Why did we have to take the door off on the Explorer?
Because we ran wires.
We had to run wires? Why did we have to run wires? Was it the mid-range and the mid-bass were on the same wire?
I think so, yeah.
I don't remember. That sucked. These might, these might suck. No. Yeah, these probably suck too. Either way, that'd be cool. Mobile dog, big dog in the house. Okay. Hey, do you know why my volume on my stereo just cut off when my truck keys are towards or on and never turns back on? Nope. I mean, that's kind of weird. Could be a bad ignition, depending on the year. That always happens. If anyone has an Audi R8, take it into 5-star so they can film it. Ooh, there's a ton of R8 stuff online. There's a guy out of Europe that makes a wonderful dash kit. Yeah, the Audi R8. Yeah. Fernando, how are you liking your Morel hybrids in your car?
I love them, man. I love those.
We still haven't had a chance to tune them yet. We're waiting for the D5 1300 to come in.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll.
That's a lot of the.
Hopefully that'll be soon.
We need to do.
Well, we got to pull them out because we're gonna put They're just temporarily coming out because we have to put in the ground zero because we want to. They sent us the uraniums to play with for a little bit, so I think we're gonna take them out for a month or two and just play with some uraniums in there and see how those sound.
And then we put it back.
And then we'll put them back. Would one 8-inch sub sound better than two 6.5s? Fernando?
What's that?
One 8-inch or two 6.5s? You've had both. You have both. You have an 8 and two 6.5s. Which one do you like? Or is it just doesn't really?
It's just not, dude. That's not that much difference.
It's not that.
Unless you go with like a crazy 8.
Right.
You know? Like I have the B2.
Right.
It's just perfect for me. I have the two 6.5 scars that just like you go with, I don't know, the 2 8 big scars and you probably notice the difference. Definitely.
Yeah, but they didn't say 2 8s. They just said 1 8 versus two 6.5s.
I mean, I like the two 6.5s.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you like the 1 6.5.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Why Morel hybrids versus the Carbon Nanos? I'm having Sound Plus do custom door pods and a GMC Sierra with two 6.5 nanos in each doors. Well, so you didn't say that. That's why I said if you had the room, you gotta allow to listen to the whole thing.
No room.
If I was doing what you just described, then yes, I would sell you the Nanos because it's going to be a way better installation. I don't have to shred your door to try to find someplace to put the magnets. So no, I would definitely do what you're describing. That's why they exist, is to do stuff like that and sound awesome. So definitely, yes, go for that. I'd use my other hand and give you, here, there's two. Just split screen it and pretend. Thank you, components for me, then, because I like mid-bass by itself. Tweeters are in the A-pillar, the smaller mid in the dash. Oh, okay. Oh, the smaller mid's in the dash. Oh, really? Oh, that's freaking awesome.
What?
Apparently the mids are in the dash.
On the Explorer?
No, on the F-150 with the big premium sound. So that's a whole different dash they put in this bitch. Oh, you want to see really cool detail?
How many F-150s they have? Really?
Come on, they got them all. Check out this. This is cool. This is cool. This is all right. So this is this little thing on the side of the F-150 here. And at first glance, it just looks like some little. It's a flag though. It's the American flag. So they have. It's not perfect, but this is what it is. It's just this weird. But yeah, it's American flag. There's one over on that side, and it's pretty neat. Fernando's, he was like, I'm like, because it's the military way, so you get to see it waving as it charges forward into the world that is going to be our F-150 land.
Yes.
You okay?
Yeah.
I already checked that side, because when you were asking. 3-wheel hybrids in a 2016 Silverado, 3 in the dash, or pod on A-pillar tweeter. So I would try to keep everything up on the dash area. If you wanted to, you could. Alpine, when they made that kit for that car, they actually put the tweeter and the mid all up into that bracket, and it sounded really, really good. So you could probably. I've seen people that have remade that top bracket and fit the 3 and the tweeter there, and then I know the Alpine sounded great, so I'm only assuming that it probably sounds pretty good too. Quick question, what's up with the Orion HCC line of products? I can't find the 12-inch sub and the mids online anymore. I haven't followed Orion in a while, but if I were to make a guess, this is 100% a guess, just because of the state of the world right now, everything car audio related, which is to say everything electronics related, is either stuck on a freaking boat somewhere in the ocean, or is trying to get on a boat to get across the ocean. So
they do a legal U-turn.
They definitely did an illegal U-turn. So everything is just hard to get your hands on right now. So if I was to guess, that would probably be part of it, that's all I can think of at this point. How's the rose gold amps?
Is
it rose gold?
It's it's not like the rose gold,
Right.
but yes, it looks really nice.
Is ours rose gold?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh. We haven't put it in yet. I'm really
No.
anxious to do it. That's next week.
But this is not the pure.
Oh, it's not the. It's just, this is 3 from the top. This is the 3rd from the top.
This is the 3rd from the top.
3rd from the top. The top is the one I want.
Yes, the one is the pure
Yeah.
sound quality.
I know, right? Jesus. Where can I find a noise cancellation device on my on your Ram 2020? Well, it's in 2 places, depending on which Ram you have. One, it's located right here underneath the driver's seat. It looks like an amplifier. It's there. 2, it's located right here where the factory amplifier would be. So depending on which Ram you have, it's either here or it's here. And pack and I did. Well, pack would probably be the harness you want, which I don't know if I have over here anymore.
I think we have one.
Do we have one over here?
We have a Nissan.
It's not a Nissan. It's a. Oh, there's so much stuff. Whoa, whoa. I don't know where it's at. Oh, maybe. Oh, there it is. Is that it? Yes, it's the ANC. I got killed. Sorry. Here we go. This is it. ANC CH01. That's the harness you need. And in the instructions actually shows you where they're at. But you need one of those. Okay. My bad, wrong video this morning. Logo looks factory. Thank you. Are you having fun?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
dude.
I mean, it's black. You
Yeah,
see all your fingerprints.
dude,
Yeah,
he
look.
drove 2 hours to get here. There's all kinds of schmooch. Logos look factory. Thank you. Thank you very much. We try very hard.
Yeah, they look factory.
Yeah? I don't know. I mean, they look cool.
They look cool.
It's a good idea, Fernando.
Not me.
That was all you, bro.
Yeah.
Turn off the DMRTA so it just doesn't sit here and get hot.
I just work here.
You do? Show us the subs in the F-150. I mean, okay, so, yeah, why not? It's not much to see. If you're a JL fan, you're gonna love it. But this is the JL stealth box. This is what it looks like. So it just has 2 these 12s, something like that.
12.
So it's 2 12s, just, you know, it's a fiberglass box. It's really nothing to see. But yeah, it's got 1 plug, so kudos there. When you're doing the F-150s, bring the subwire through the seatbelts here. Don't try to bring them up underneath this or over this or anything like that, because the seat sits on top of this. So if you'll notice, like, here's the wire, but the wire comes through, this is it right here, and it comes through this area so that there's nothing that sits on it. So it's a little bit longer and it snakes over to here, even though, like, obviously this would be the shortest thing. Don't do that, because you'll crush the wire. 2015 Acura TLX 8 with ANC. So each Acura is a little bit different. I gotta be honest with you, Google it, you're probably gonna find it. Some of them, it's up in the dash underneath the center channel speaker. Some of them, it's up underneath behind the radio. A lot of them are on the passenger side of the car, either beneath, like right up in the footwell by the air conditioner, or up behind the glove box. So those are really like the 4 places that they put that little silver box. It's about yay big, about this tall. It looks the same in all the cars, but I guarantee if you throw it up there on the YouTubers, there's going to be some guy that's going to tell you where to go, because that's what we would do. We can't possibly know where all this stuff is at. I recently installed a subwoofer for my truck that sounds strong in the truck, strong in the truck than in the car. How can I improve the travel of sound into the cabin of the car? Well, the problem with the car is that you put it in the trunk and then you put 5 inches of foam in front of it, which is called the back seat. Folding down the back seat allows you to get more air. However, driving around with your seat folded down is probably not something you want to do. And then there lies the problem. So you have to find some way to get air through that back seat. That's about it. So.
How was that?
What?
Capacitors.
What about? Oh.
Talk about it.
Yeah, I think I have that one. I might not, but write it down. Just get the Metro piece and you're gonna do it yourself. Yeah, there you go. Okay. 2020 Core Premium Audio. I want to upgrade the speakers to the Audio Frog GBs. How many channels of amplification do I need? And watched all your Core videos, but I'm still confused. Do I need A? So with the new Accord, obviously the problem we've run into with that is Metro makes the piece. However, the Bluetooth gets all funky and you get an echo, so it's really depressing because everything sounds wonderful. And then you go into that and you're like, ah, crap. So depending on what you're trying to do, it's a fully active system, meaning every speaker has a channel on the amplifier. So there's 4 channels up front, there's 4 channels in the rear, there's a channel for center and a channel for sub. So depending on what you're trying to upgrade, you're going to need an amplifier channel for all of those. You don't necessarily need to worry about time alignment because it's already done with the amplifiers. All pass filters are taking care of that, as you notice, because it has a sound stage. So if you get something with a multiple channel amplifier, let's say, like off the top of my head, like a Helix. Helix has an M12. It has a DSP built into it. Helix M12 will go right into that car. Or something with a DSP, like that has multiple 9 channels of input or more, depending on what you want to keep. So if you're just trying to improve, let's say what we call the front stage upgrade, where we put a really nice set of components up front and a subwoofer in the back and just makes everything louder and sound nicer, well, you could get away with a 5-channel amplifier, because a 5-channel amplifier would do that. The center channel is only needed for the Bluetooth and the map voice. So the prompts. So when you add an amplifier, it's going to definitely outplay that. So you're not going to have to worry about that. You're going to be double the volume that, if not 5 times the amount of volume that has. So you're going to outperform that. And or maybe get a 6-channel amplifier, power that thing back up, or a multiple amplifier. So there's no great answer on that car. We were excited because the Metro piece worked wonderfully for audio. Sounds fabulous. It's just freaking awesome sounding and does everything we want it to until you make a phone call. And then you're just totally let down because you're totally let down because you're totally let down because you're totally let down because you got a damn echo.
Change the track, dude.
Oh, it sucks. So if that's not important to you, totally find one of the Metro pieces.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're going to fix that at some point.
I'm pretty sure they got this.
What would you recommend for a crossover point for Morel Maximal Ultra if running them active? All right, Morel does an amazing job of giving you all the information possible for their speakers. So go to the website and or the owner's manual, find out what the FS is on the tweeter. F, big F, little s, FS, okay? Double that. If you're running a 24 dB per octave crossover, double it. So let's say it's 2,000, it wouldn't be 2,000. It would, it's a
1,200.
Is it 1,200?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say it's 1,200. So you'd run it at 24,000 at 12 dB. Now, if you only, 24 dB.
Yes.
So 24. If you have a 12 dB crossover only, then you're gonna wanna triple it. So you'd go up to 36 at 12 dB. All right, so just go with that and be good. Separate DSP like a Metro Access. I try to get the non-big DSP. I try to get the base model DSP from Metro because I'm going to use a better external DSP. I just merely need their piece for preamp. So you can use their DSP. It's a fully functional DSP and will work. However, there's other DSPs that I like, and I hate using a phone for a DSP. So I just don't like. It'll work. That's as far as I'm going to go with it. I'm putting in a better DSP. That's all I want to do. Do you have an AC 4.800 out to show the size comparison to a phone?
Not outside. It's still in the box.
Is it still boxed up?
Yeah. But.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's over there somewhere. I don't have one out.
I don't.
Yeah. No, I don't. Sorry.
But it's not that big.
It's about 3 phones across.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
could you talk a little about capacitors?
We're going to.
What kind of capacitors? You talking like tweeter capacitors? Yeah, we'll come back to that topic when we have more time. What's the sound difference between Alpine X and Rockford Power 6.5s? I like the way that the Rockford X sound. Not that I don't like the way the Rockford sound, but I like... Okay, so I'm not a metal tweeter guy, okay? I'm not a metal tweeter guy, and that's the easiest way to put it. We go with a ton of Power T2 6.5s. It's one of our go-to speakers. We sell a ton of those because of what they do. They produce a serious amount of sound and will just wake up the world. If that's the sound you're looking for, then that's the speaker for you. A T1 has a soft dome tweeter, which to me, there are better speakers with soft dome tweeters in my personal opinion. I don't want that speaker. So for that, I would look at the Alpine X Type. But I just like the X Type. It has a more natural sound to me. I guess. I mean, it's hard when you guys ask these questions because it's like I like what I like. You guys are gonna like what you like. That's why we try to say these are the characteristics of those speakers and not necessarily like, go buy this one. Right. Because, you might like that bright ass tweeter that is just like, hell yeah, waking up the dead. That might be what you want. And if it is, you buy that. If it's not, then you go the other way. Because it's not that they both don't get extremely loud. Never confuse loudness for brightness. Okay, they're two totally different things. So have you seen the Sony? Yes, we have. We gave one away for the 12 Days of Christmas this year.
Thank you so much for the
6 channels with a DSP. It's a very basic DSP. It's not a really advanced DSP. So
it's a regular.
It's like a radio DSP.
It's a regular DSP.
No, it's not. The Sony's not a regular DSP. It's the same thing that comes in the radio.
I see that as a regular DSP. An advanced DSP is when you have all that.
When you have equalization for every channel?
Yes, correct.
Okay, well then it has a radio basic DSP in it. It doesn't have, as Fernando stated, an advanced DSP. It is a great beginner amplifier. It sounds wonderful. Yeah. However, it's easy to use. Let's put it that way. It's super simple to use. Yeah, it's so basic. And there again, it's not that it's basic, it's just it's made for a specific application. Yeah, if you have a radio with a DSP in it and you're trying to get better than that, that is not the product to go with. What's that?
The GS9 had that built in.
Yeah, it's a basic DSP. Okay. So, if you want better than what a radio has, then don't do that. Pardon me. Go somewhere else.
Or find something else.
Find something else. Get the Ground Zero 4 to 8. Has 4 channels of 70 watts by 4 and 4 more channels of output.
I would get the 6 to 8.
What are you talking? They don't make a 6 channel 8 to 8 DSP amplifier.
Oh, no. Just the DSP.
I'm talking about the DSP amplifier.
Yes.
Yes, the DSP amplifier. What kind of systems do you both have in your personal car? Right now I'm rocking the wonderful Ford system that came with my brand new car that I bought. And Fernando at current is running a set of the Morel hybrid, brand new Morel hybrids with carbons, with a set powered off of the LC5 1300, a ACM 2.300, and you're running the Ground Zero DSP at the moment. That's what he's got going on in the lab.
The 2 6.5s.
What's poppin'? Dean, what's your take on install 10-inch flat shallow subwoofer in the rear deck versus box and trunk? Box and trunk, please. Box and trunk. Definitely box and trunk. Or box and rear deck, whichever works for you. But put the woofer in a box. It's phenomenal. You'll love it. Thoughts on the SR amp compared to the Prima? Ooh. Totally different animals. Yeah. Totally different animals. Conventional amp, SR. Non-conventional amp, Prima. So they brought the SR amps out because there was like Prima and then there was Voce and there was like nothing in between. I personally own a bunch of the SR amplifiers. I bought them because, dude, they're freaking awesome little amps with tons and tons of power and they're just sexy. They are. If you want more than what a Prima offers, Meaning, because that Prima is only 75 by
Correct.
8, and if you're not going to be doing the Prima speakers that go with it, then the SR is a better option for you because it opens you up to conventional amplifier. However, you could still get the Bitnove DSP, which is essentially the same DSP as the DSP that's in the Prima. So what you can basically build is a big-ass Prima system, but with the SR amplifier. So you can get that big
Still
awesome, yeah. But
yeah.
so you can get that
Powerful,
super
clean.
powerful but simple to use Prima DSP,
Yeah.
and also a ton of power.
Tons.
So
I like it.
just what you want to do. I will tell you this though: if you go Forza Prima with the corresponding speakers, like the WRX we did the other day. Oh my God, dude, that was so freaking loud. Because it all goes together and it just sounds fabulous. Where can I get the ported L7T downfiring box? It wasn't ported, it was sealed, and it was sealed. It was a sealed downfiring box. It's just something we make. We don't actually have those. I don't think he's selling them. Could you please talk about the center speaker on the dashboard that is not regular always, but what does it do exactly in the wall of sound in front? A center channel is a tough little nut to crack. It depends on what you're trying to do with it. So for example, in this particular F150 with the BO system, the BO system actually uses it as a center channel. The purpose of the center channel is to make what's called a two-seat tune, okay? It's one of those words that really kind of gets abused right now, because a two-seat tune isn't really, it just means that the guy sitting here in the driver's side is going to turn his head towards the middle because there's going to be sound coming out of right here, and the guy in the passenger side is going to turn his head in because there's sound coming, from here. So what a lot of manufacturers do is they don't do any form of upmixing, because remember, audio is two channels. There's a left, there's a right. There's nothing in the standard stereo signal that hides the center image. It's not there. There's a left track, there's a right track, and that's it. That's all there is. When you're sitting in a home and you're perfectly centered between the speakers, the left and right, then you can get that center image, and the sound just kind of evolves in front of you. Just kind of like there's somebody here and there's someone there, and there's all this stuff going on. In a car, we have a speaker here, we have a speaker here, we got all these speakers, and it's just like, So the job of this speaker is to make this person think that there's sound coming from there, and make me think there's sound coming from there, which is the center. But to do that, you need an upmixer. An upmixer is a processor that looks at left, looks at right, and through some math and logarithms, DSP, equalization, timing, phasing, doing all kinds of nonsense, will create that center image by extracting certain information out of left and right. And that will give you a true, as it would be, true to their eyes, stereo with a mono, or with like a 3.1 system, meaning 1, 2, 3 sub and back. Some of them will give you some goofy stuff that happened in the back here. It just depends. The problem is that you basically now have just two people that have a mediocre sound, because it's not gonna, it's gonna be hard. Not impossible, it's just gonna be hard. You can do it, but it takes a lot of work. Plus you need a DSP with an upmixer, which you're getting into a whole nother price bracket. The cheapest one to play with is the Helix DSP Mini. Anyways, what happens in the case of like a generic F-150, so if this was a base model F-150, that center channel is just, it's not upmixed. It's either left minus right, right minus left, or just a channel coming out. A mono channel, like mono, literally like just left to right mono. There you go. Some in the Toyotas, they actually do old school style. So they run a left input and a right input directly into the voice coil of the speaker. So there's two voice coils, and it just plays both sounds out of it. That's why you have to remove or unplug that speaker when you're doing just a deck upgrade, because it will short the deck out. If you ever ran into that, just unplug that speaker. When you're dealing with what's called a one-seat tune, which is what we're doing here, is there is no center channel. We don't use it. because we're going to adjust these to push them out so that they match these. Now, if this is like, what the are you talking about? We're gonna give you a little tip. On Monday's show, we're gonna be talking about time alignment. The word for the day is time alignment. So we're gonna talk about this whole, what is time alignment? How does it work? What is what? The basics of time alignment, and explain to you what we're trying to do with this. So there you go. Now in the Honda Accord, the center channel is just an integral part of what the system does. So they've routed all those sounds into the center channel. So it sucks, you have to keep it. However, when you go with the Metro piece, it just takes the digital signal coming out of the radio, which is just there. Again, stereo, there's no processing done on it. And so the amplifier is what is moving that sound to the center channel. It has nothing to do with the actual sound coming out of the radio. So when you go with their piece, it just goes left and right like it's supposed to. You got something? You looked curious. MDF box or ABS for lighter weight sub box on rear deck. I would probably do blown PVC. ABS, ABS would weigh a ton. ABS is freaking heavy, Fernando, right? Mm-hmm. Dude, that 1/4 inch sheet will kill you. It's friggin' nuts. Now the blown PVC though, super light, super rigid. That's what most people are doing. They're getting like 1 inch blown PVC, and that's what you're making the box out of, because that's like light as a feather. Let me see what I got here. Hold on. Like this is a piece of 1 inch blown PVC, and this is nothing. And it is, hold on. As you can see, it's real rigid. It's not bending at all. So you get some 1 inch blown PVC, make a subwoofer out of this with a couple bracing, glue it together along with some screws. You'll be all set and ready to go. Super sexy. All right, guys, listen, that's it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been 5 Moves with 5 Star. Tomorrow is Thursday? Yes. Tomorrow Thursday? I don't know what that means. Oh, I know what that means. You know what tomorrow Thursday means, right? What does that mean? Tomorrow is one of the best days of the week. I wish. Tomorrow is one of the best days of the week. That means I'm going to be on the Hi-Fi Vega network. We'll just call it the network now because he's just all over the place. Doing reverse polarity. Means we get to talk loosely about car stereo, but mostly about cool stuff that the guys are interested in. Hopefully he's past the 80s though. Maybe we can move on to the 90s.
There you go.
I don't know. Lots of fun. Anyways, make sure to tune in that tomorrow. We might be back tomorrow. We don't know. We never know how this is going to go. So have a wonderful day. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye. How you doing?
You can watch it right now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's getting warm, right?
It's getting warm, yeah.
It was cold this morning. It's gonna be cold tonight.
Yeah. What's going on?
I don't know. That wasn't 2 minutes though, was it? 2 minutes, I promise. 2 minutes.
Oh.
It'll just be 2 minutes, I promise.
It's always.
It's always just 2 minutes. I wish his 2 minutes and my 2 minutes were the same thing.
It's never 2 minutes.
No, it's never 2 minutes. It's like I'll be down in 5.
That's what she said.
Oh, it was a good 20 minutes for sure. How's everybody doing today? What's happening here? Can you hold this for a second?
Of course I can hold it.
Yeah, hold that. Do your thing. I'm sweating over here. Jesus.
Yes, what's going on, guys?
I went running last night. I had on the long sleeve shirt.
Yeah.
Because Sue bought me some new long sleeve shirts.
Oh, Fernando, what's up?
It was like that borderline. So yesterday got up at 5.
Yep.
Got here at 5:45. Worked on this.
Yep. Got
the shot at 5 o'clock.
So, are you COVID free?
No, I just have a Band-Aid. So I got my shot. And it does feel like somebody punched
Did they
me
give
in
you a
the arm.
lollipop?
Dude, so they had lollipops. So here's the rub. You gotta wait for 15 minutes.
Don't cry, man. Don't cry.
So I did a little. So they had a tray of lollipops.
Okay.
And they had Dum-Dums in a box sitting over there. And she goes, "Do you want a lollipop?" And I was like, I mean, here's the suck: is you're gonna give me a lollipop, but I gotta wait 15 minutes to eat it because I can't. You gotta walk around. You gotta stay in the store for 15 minutes and wait.
Yeah.
But I can't eat it because I gotta wear a damn mask. So I was like, no, I don't want a lollipop.
Maryland in the house.
Instead, I went and spent $30 on Easter candy for Haley.
Oh, why not?
So,
yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
Easter candy's crazy prices. I feel bad for you parents that have like real kids, and not just like Haley that just really need this stuff. Cause
Sounds car audio. Wow, that's
insanity.
Yeah. What's up, Victor?
All right, so
Matt.
We weren't here yesterday because as I was getting to 5 o'clock got the shot. Came back here, worked for a little bit longer. John Schneid stopped by, so we talked about his future build in his F250.
Yep.
And then went home, did a 5.5 mile run.
Did any change in that?
And what?
In that F250?
No, I think we're going to end up doing 4 subs and whatnot, and 2 1500s. So went for a 5.5 mile run, came home 8, edited The Boring Life of Dean and Haley, so that came out this morning at 9:30. Got done with that about 11.
Okay.
And then watched Godzilla vs. King Kong.
Okay.
If you guys have
all right,
HBO
so
Max,
from 1 to 10, review which one? Just 1 to 10.
1 to 10 and what?
On the movie.
Oh, King Kong?
Yes, King Kong versus Godzilla.
So I'm not like a one category guy. Like you can't just say like this movie was a 10 or this movie was a 5. So when it comes to action sequences and just special effects and like if you want the WWE of monster movies, this thing was a hard like 8.
Okay.
I mean a hard 8. Like it could be better as far as plot and movie points and all this shit that we know does not matter. It was like a 3. Comedy, just general comedy, like just like stupid Ghostbusters style comedy. It's like this is supposed to be real, but we know it's not, kind of thing. It was a 6, maybe 5 or 6, because you laughed, but you also realized that they were trying to be serious, but it wasn't happening. So I mean, overall, it's a great movie to watch. Like,
all right, so overall, you have a 17-point movie.
Yeah, exactly. So, in other words, if you have HBO Plus, and you got nothing to do this weekend, get a bag of popcorn, set everyone down in front of the TV, the kids, the family, the wife, and just sit there and watch it and enjoy how. And if you got the bigger the TV, the better. Like, dude, I sat in the back of my living room to watch it, and then once the fight started, like Sue fell asleep on my lap.
Nice.
When the fight started, I said, "Screw this, man!" I got up and got like right up on my TV. I'm like this, man, and I got what is it, an 80-inch or something? So I'm just I'm doing this. Oh my god, because it just looks so freaking awesome. I mean, the special effects were insane.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it.
It was a good flick to watch. There's no doubt about it. But you guys don't care about movies.
No, because we're here in the install bay.
We got
right
here.
Here.
A freaking GMC.
Yeah.
It's not an F-150. However, the week did start out with an F-150.
Yeah.
And it ended with a GMC.
All right, starting the motor.
Starting the motor.
What are we having here? 6-cylinder. We have this intake. No, just kidding.
So we got 4-gauge wire ran up here to the battery. Fernando made a standard L mount. There wasn't any beauty panels we could do because there wasn't the room for
it's not a spot and no space at all.
But this is as far as under the hood goes, this is about as like normal as it gets. As far as installation goes, power wire runs over here to the T harness or the T nut. Zip ties across the front. GM did a spectacular job. Designing a very simple engine bay. The one thing I like about GM is that if you do want to add a second battery to your system, you got the hole over there for where it would go from the diesel. So it's like if you're doing a big system, you immediately get that awesome spot that you can put your second battery.
No, we don't do any history and label because it's only it's the main here. It's the main fuse.
So the label's actually here. We don't pan up. We don't go here and here with
because it's only one fuse going through the whole system. So technically, if you see it's like okay, my
we'll get to the back and you'll see what we mean.
Correct.
But if there's multiple fuse holders, then yes, we will label them. If there's just one, then we don't. Because it's kind of overstating the obvious.
All right.
So let's head into the car.
Let's follow Dean.
follow Dean. So
No,
this had the Bose system in it, which, of course, no one likes to admit that they bought the Bose system. So we pulled the Bose badges off and created some Focal badges to go on there, the same exact size. So that's just, we copied the size of the Bose badge.
Yep.
Pulled those off, put our badges on. There again, it's just a nice little touch to make it a little nicer. We didn't have to do anything extensive for the bass knob on this.
No, it goes in the other side.
The bass knob fit here. It fit here on the front. However, the back side of it, you do have to do some deconstruction of the area behind this. So this isn't like a flat panel that you can easily just go behind it. The substructure behind it does need a little bit of trimming in order to get the bass knob there, but it looks the best here. Like there's really no other place on this dash to put a bass knob unless you like had the unit that didn't have the seated
Correct.
seat heaters.
Seat heaters.
So this kept the factory radio, and of course integration is the Amp Pro GM61. Integrated right into this, no problem. Oh, the light's over there?
Yes, of course.
Oh no, we got a light.
Hey, I got everything set up for you, man.
All right, well, you get in there. You got the camera.
All right.
And I'll just tell everyone about it. So what we did is the brand new M5 Rockford Marine amplifiers, or I'm sorry, the new Rockford amplifiers. So the new M5 amplifiers. We did the 800 mono, or what is it? There's the 800 4-channel.
I think we gotta flip this.
Why?
Just to see the M5 in this
Oh,
side.
that's fine. Yeah, and then we did the 1000.
And then we did the
I
1000.
honestly didn't even realize because I didn't have a light when I screwed it back
this
on.
is fine.
So I'll flip it. So we did power. We did fuse holder distribution between the two. Main fuse holder comes in here. There's your 5-star logo. Red loom going off to the side. So this is the 4-channel up here.
Yep.
And it comes across, goes down, around, and then we did the Focal Flax FX series.
Yep.
You can tell that because of the bigger crossovers. The factory Bose amplifier, if you follow my crooked finger, right
there.
I was gonna say, you're better there. This is where the factory Bose amplifier is. You don't have to pull the seat out. He had already done a raised kit on the seat. That's what these metal U's are. So he had somebody else do that, and they raised the seat up. But the factory Bose amp is here, and when you raise the seat up, it makes it real easy. There's 2 plugs you need to get to do that, to integrate into it. So we've plugged those in. We got our 6 speaker wires. There's no wire run. You don't have to do any wire runs in this because the Bose factory amplifier does tweeter, does door speakers, does rear. It does center if you need it, and subwoofer, which it didn't have center or sub. This is the basic Bose stereo. So we were able just to add in, go right into our crossovers. That's why we fired them backwards. So it was a straight run. So it's a minimal amount of wire, plugs right in. There's plenty of room to put the T-harness behind here. The factory Bose amplifier does have to stay in the system when doing the Amp Pro. Now, out of the Amp Pro, size is a premium here, so we went with the DSR-1. I know what you're saying. Well, this does not, from the factory AR, do GM yet. The GM uses a MOS bus system, and they're not done with their MOS bus integration. In the future, yes, this will be MOS bus compliant. However, right now it is, or they'll have something that is MOS bus. So all these speaker wires and remote turn on and everything go that way, and then all our amplifier signal wires come across this way. So we made our own. So with the Rockfords, they come with the giant things. We typically cut those off, solder in our own RCA ends. Like you see here, this is a Stinger X12 ends. That way we can make them whatever length we need, so I don't have to, have RCAs just all bundled up. So from the 1000 over to here, this is our own RCA that we made, so we could get it exactly to length. And then these are the 4-channel amplifier, come out of here. And then we shortened one back by raising this up and allowing it to slide the wire back some, because I don't want a big bundle here. So I was able to stagger them. So you have, what's that? You're gonna die? Fernando's gonna cough. So we have a staggered RCA here and here. And then that zip ties up into the 800 over here. Sorry, the camera's kind of bumpy. The one thing you'll notice about those amplifiers, if you've seen the new M5 amplifiers, is they have these giant cables that come off them. I think when we did an unboxing, we showed you that.
Yeah.
If you pull those cables off and there's slight modifications you do have to make to the factory plugs, you can plug in there. So we did not use these giant pieces on them. Slight modifications are necessary. Do at your own risk, as Rockford said to me. Hey man, do it at your own risk. See what you like. And I was like, all right, whatever. We're gonna do this because, I mean, our wires are zip tied in nice and tight, so we don't have a lot of flex. Naturally, you guys want to see what the woofers are. So he had someone make him. This is the Auto Mobile 12-inch. They're a shallowish 12, sealed enclosure, made for this. We had to pull it apart because they had two giant 12-gauge wires coming out of it, which this amplifier will not accept two 12-gauge wiring. So we had to go inside and wire it up inside, just bring one 12-gauge wire out. So they resin the inside of the box. They did a really nice job on the box, so the good kudos there. So this sits in there. Power, Focal flax in the rear, Focal flax up front. That's it. That's what we got. That's what happened. Okay then, is it just not my phone? Yeah, the video feed is cutting in and out. Oh, I'm sorry about that.
I think
its stream lag is nice. Sorry.
A lot of people have a good streaming.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is it okay to push an L7, which 900 watts RMS class? All right, hold on. Q class to an amp that's 1200 watts AD wired at 1 ohm. There's a lot of things you can do with power, both good and bad. It's all, at the end of the day, subwoofers don't blow themselves. You blow the subwoofers. If you set everything up properly and you're responsible and you pay attention to what's happening, or the customer pays attention to what's happening, no, you're not gonna blow it. But
you know, it's funny because you always hear like, "Hey, my subwoofers are blown." It's like, no,
you blew your subwoofers. Yeah, you blew your subwoofers. I mean, the problem that you run into most of the time is you'll get like a woofer like that's 900 watts. Someone will go in there and put 10 dBs of overlap on it, and then they'll play it, then they'll distort the hell out of it, and then it'll blow up. And it's like, you just set it up wrong. You know, it didn't do anything. And remember, if the video is laggy or stupid, if the video does strange things and you're like, damn it, I missed this, it's okay, even if you're watching this later, because remember, we do a rebroadcast of this on Monday, and we get the actual feed from our phone that we're recording. We don't take the feed off of Instagram. So if there's any hiccups in the video, they're not there on Monday. So if you miss something and you want to go back and see it, for one, I totally appreciate you doing that, but you're okay. You can watch the rebroadcast Monday. Or if you miss any of these that we do throughout the week or throughout the weeks, Monday is 5-star or 5 minutes of 5-star rebroadcast on YouTube. So we take all those videos that we've done throughout the week, and we just put them on there, and you can listen to them on your drive to work or with headphones or whatever you want to do. Have fun with it. You guys asked for it back, so we brought it back. Plus, YouTube finally fixed their aspect ratio, so we can put it up in the native aspect ratio, and you get this, which is kind of nice. The only nice thing about it is you don't have to see the comments that keep popping up on the screen. Yep. So that's pretty wonderful. But that is the GMC. That's what we did. It's a nice little system, very dynamic sounding, very like, yeah, it's got two 12s, and wanted to make sure we could compete with that, and I feel it does a really good job at that. Would you concur, my partner Fernando?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so.
But it's good.
I don't know.
Sounds good.
Let me see something here. So I'm reconnecting. All right. We're going to try changing up the connection here. Bobby, what's happening? Because I was using my cell service because I was walking between the buildings at the beginning. So I don't know if it was trying to connect to Wi-Fi or not. That's Saturday. You know what's the nice thing about today?
That we don't have to work tomorrow?
Well, that's the nicest thing about today. How's your arm feel today? It's
sore, really?
No, it just So
if I do this and it hurts?
No.
Oh, okay.
When you bump into something really hard.
Yeah.
And then and then you don't think about it until you hit it on something accidentally, and you're like, oh crap.
So it's just a bruise.
Yeah, it's not. But I'm holding the phone with that arm, and it's not bothering me. I don't know. I'm hoping she feels fine. Hello, what's that? You gonna die? God, I hope not. I mean, that would suck.
I feel that I'm gonna die.
It's Easter's Eve. Ah, I know. Hey, make sure if you haven't watched The Boring Life of Dean and Haley, make sure you go watch that. We had a good Easter video that we did that Haley absolutely loved. What wiring harness should I use for my 2020 Silverado non-Bose? Are we trying to get into the factory amplifier? It's going to depend. So Metra makes a couple, like if you're trying to put a new radio in it, you don't have a lot of options there. That's straight up, you're going to go with Metra. But if you're trying to do some form of amplifier integration or a factory radio integration, what you need, hold on, is this guy right here. This is a Metra part. Now, I don't know which one yours is going to need. However, you have the AXEXH GML N30 or 31. These are T-harnesses or extension cables that they make for their DSP, which will plug into those factory. They don't have colors. It's very generic. It's just getting you the plug. So it's just getting you there. You're going to have to figure out the rest. So it's not like it's going to be, oh, it's so cool. When he was choking, that's what I said. Oh, yeah, I know. Trust me, he's been choking all week, man. He's been screaming. And what'd you guys do last weekend?
Last weekend?
Yeah, why? What were you yelling at?
We went to Legoland. I gotta go scream like, hey, wait!
Yeah, so he did the Legoland thing, he did the monster truck thing.
Yeah.
Then we had a temperature change.
I'm sensitive.
He's so sensitive. He's very sensitive.
My gain has to be all the way down.
Gain has to be all the way. Kickers, CXA 210s, price not an issue. I mean, that's a spectacular amplifier. We reviewed that. That's actually the only amp dyno video we've ever done. So if you want to see it in action, go look at the amp dyno video of that one. It's quite impressive. There's no doubt about it. Can I run 4 gauge to an amp that recommends to run 8 gauge with the proper fuse? I have 4 gauge already installed. Of course you can do that. You can always go bigger on power. You can run a 0 gauge wire to an Alpine brick amp if you wanted to. As long as you have the proper connections and fuses in it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just a power wire. It's just the size of the hose getting you from point A to point B. I'm a big fan of the bigger the wire, the better, instead of what everyone does, which is the bare ass minimum needed to get something done. So by all means, if you got a 4 gauge, scale it down. Now that's the problem that you run into is a lot of people don't scale it down properly. So, you know, get yourself some form of distribution block that goes from 4 to 8 with reducers built into them. You know, when it comes to reducers, like these, you know, that's what all these are for. And the, you know, when we use them for legs, these are reducers that go in fuse boxes or fuse holders that take it from a 8 gauge. You pull this out and it goes to a 4 gauge. So they have all these things in them. You definitely want to make sure you get some form of proper reducer.
If you're gonna go straight to your amplifier, check this website, the Sky High. They have so many reducers from like 0, 4, and doubles and all crazy.
That was like the 3000, the Sound Digital 3000 that we have has a 4 gauge to 8 gauge, or sorry, has a 0 gauge to 4 gauge reducer in it. Because we had 0 gauge we ran for the 5000 and for the 2400. So yeah, do it all the time. Metra, yes, that was Metra. I'm sorry, those were Metra parts. Monster trucks are sweet.
They're awesome.
Would you recommend a 2020 Silverado with the Bose? Looking to add on 5-channel VXIM. What would you recommend for a 2020 Silverado with Bose? All right, so here's the deal. Right now, today, the Nav TV AVB piece has been recalled. So there's no form of integration available for you to plug into your 2020 Silverado with Bose. What that means is you got to get out of your head simple 4-channel installation. Now I know you said a 5-channel. We're going to assume that the 5th channel is for the sub. Depending on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to do front rear, you know, if you're trying to do the cross, you know, left front, right front, all that garbage. A 5-channel amp ain't going to get it done. All right, it's not going to work for you because you have more than 5 channels and you're not summing that together. It has all pass filters. It has time delay. It is not a summing situation. It's Bose. It's pre-EQ'd, okay? So you can't do a simple 5-channel install into that car unless the only thing you're planning on doing is the front tweeter, the front mid, and a subwoofer.
A 3-channel.
Well, it's 5-channel, but
well,
3
yes.
positions. We'll call them positions. Front position, passenger position,
like a front
position.
stage only, that's it.
You could use a 5-channel for that. Otherwise, you have to count channels. So if you have, like this is a Bose system in this. This had front tweeters active, mid bass active, rear speaker was just a speaker in the rear.
Yep.
This did not have the center channel, but some of them do, and it did have this subwoofer.
So 7 channels.
And it had 7 channels of audio. We were able to do an Amp Pro. However, if the Amp Pro didn't exist, we would have to put an amp on the tweeter, an amp on the mid-range, depending on what he wanted to do for the rear, an amp on the rear or not. Like we could have let the radio just play those. We could have let the radio play the center if we wanted to and just do a front stage upgrade. So that is the problem that we run into when, you know, we just want to buy, like they make the VXI 8-channel. The reason why they make the 8-channel is for situations like this.
Yep.
So you could take the VXI 8-channel, and if you had a, well, he had said VXI, so that's what it's
okay.
So you could use the VXI 8-channel, do center, do active front tweeter, active front mid, active rear, and have an output for a sub amp.
Yep.
Or if it doesn't have the center channel, it has the basic system like this, you do the front tweeters on 1 and 2, 3 and 4 for the front doors, 5 and 6 for the rear doors, 7 and 8 you can bridge to a small subwoofer. That's it. Or use it as a 6-channel and you bridge more power to your 2 front door mid bass, which is like what we did a couple weeks ago with the Forza, because the Forza amp is perfect for that. So like if you had the Bose system and you wanted to upgrade to like a Prima system, you could do the Prima 6.5 Forza components up front, coaxials in the rear, take the 8-channel Forza, power all those up in 6-channel mode, active into the amplifier, and then use the Forza 1001 to power the subwoofer double stack. If you want to see what that was like, you can go back. If you want to get a good example of that whole thing, watch last week's 5 Minutes with 5 Star. We kind of show you some of the effects of why that system had to be designed the way it was. We integrated in the factory radio with that. It's going to be something similar to what you're going to be doing right now with that Silverado. Makes me think of a Western movie. Can I switch to the VXI? Okay, I think we answered that. Okay, hey Dean, just got a Camry HV. Perfect. What's up with not being able to add a radio? I mean, it's just kind of how things are going now. I mean, it sucks. I mean, one day you might be able to.
One day.
It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. There again, multi-channel amplifiers are what fix these problems, guys. We have to get out of our head that standard 4-channel system. It's not going to save the day anymore. We need to start looking at more 6-channel and 8-channel systems, because that's what these cars are going to need in order to get that result that we want. Back to talking about the Bose system for a minute, like it already is time aligned. It is already set up. The only thing you have to, like, you don't even have to go full DSP on it. All you really have to do is just EQ it for your new speakers, and that's it. Like all the hard work, like all the math and all the, it's all done. All you gotta do is be like, I'd like it a little brighter. I'd like a little less of this. Tick, 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 tick. You know, so it's not a terrible thing. It's not as scary as they're letting you think it is. It sucks sometimes, don't get me wrong. Integration is gonna be hard.
Yeah.
And like you're gonna need load resistors and all kinds of fun stuff like that. But when it actually comes to the tuning side of it, it's not as bad as we are all like led to believe. It's okay, or they're leading you to believe, I should say. Dean, you watch Red Sun yet? I watched half of it. I'm halfway into it. I'm right where Superman got to the USA. Your impressions of the 8-channel Forza? I bought one. This one is mine. I paid my... Did I pay for this one?
Yeah.
Did I? I don't remember, but I bought one.
Oh,
so
no, that was good.
I don't remember if I bought it or not. But I have the Forza, I have the Prima, and I have the Prima sub amp. Those I paid for some of those. But and I have, like, these are mine. These a lot of this just came out of my wallet because yes, I want it. It's gonna go in the Mustang for at least a couple minutes. The Prima's gonna go in first. All right, let's get this out of here. Is that what you're trying to do? Yeah. All right, cool. Let's get this out of here. On the GMC power wire through the cab or under the cab? No, to get to the power wire in this, there's a grommet. Hold on. There's a grommet right here in the firewall. They have to remove the parking brake, right?
No, in this one?
Yeah.
No.
You don't have to remove anything?
You have to remove the distribution.
The power distribution block.
Power distribution, you gotta remove it.
Giant grommet. It's like this big.
And big.
Yeah, and there's a nipple on the top that you just cut right off.
Got it from the front, because if you're trying to cut it from the back, then not gonna happen.
You're gonna cut bad things. But no, pull out the power distribution. It's kind of like you've always had to do.
That was a 4-gauge wire. Literally, you just cut
a little tiny hole.
And it's the perfect hole for the 4-gauge wire. If you're doing a 0-gauge, you gotta cut a little bit more, but other than that, you can seal it. Make sure you do one.
You sealed this one, right?
Yes, sir. Oh, don't Michael that.
All right, so he's gonna pull that out. Let's see, what do we got? Have you installed the Access A to B interface for Ford Fusion? No, we have not, because we just use the Zen A to B. We've worked with those and we know they work, so apparently he forgot something. What'd you forget? Close the tailgate? Yeah. There's also a third A to B piece now, so there's a Mobridge A to B as well. So, Nad TV, and they said I could use the A to B interface with a simple flash of their software, which would be better. I mean, here's the thing. We've used the Nav TV piece, and we've used it when it sucked, when it first came out, and we've used it today with the latest firmware on it. And even when it sucked, it was solid. So it's been in the marketplace for 3 years now. Yeah, 3 years now. So it's kind of like it is the standard at the moment. Not to say that there's anything wrong with the Metro piece. I don't know. I mean, for all we know, they just, they whatever. But if you can get the Nav TV, that's what we use. We like it. Yeah, so. You guys ever worked with Dirac Live? No, we haven't. It's pretty cool. From what I was talking with Bennett, Chris from Audio Control about it, because their home receivers have it. I don't know if my home receiver has it. It probably doesn't, because it's their first model. But apparently the talk of the town was there was somebody at the SQology in Dallas or Texas this past weekend that had it in his car. I don't know how well he did, but Hi-Fi Vega was talking about it. He really wanted to hear it, so we'll see. Metro harness will hook up to the Amplifier and do, or do I have to modify it? The purpose of the T-harness is just to get to connections so you don't have to cut your factory harness. As far as like wire colors and stuff like that, you're still gonna have to figure some of this stuff out. It's one of those things where we're taking something totally different, but we can make it work. So, Bobby, pro tip of the day. I gotta be honest with you, if I had a pro tip of the day, it would be to get more sleep. Get more sleep. As you can tell, I probably look extremely tired right now, and I am. It was a really long day yesterday, partly my fault and partly just because life and work and all that other stuff, but be well rested. When you're going into something, like we've said it before, when it comes to tuning, we always like to start out fresh and tune. There's nothing that sucks worse than like working all day on a car and then the last thing you have to do is tune so it can get out of the bay and go somewhere or leave your garage or whatever it is that's happening. Like, you're tired, you've been thinking about all those things to make ticking all the boxes mental in your head. Just with the foam, is the foam in, is the bass knob in, are the wires zip tied up, is everything, is the fuse right, did I ground it good, did I put the star washer on it, did I zip tie everything into place, did I remember to put that panel back, is looking around the bay to just make sure everything's done, and like that's a lot of stuff that you just kind of do as you go through it. But the final tune on the car is better if you give it a break. So like if you got to do it that same day, walk away for an hour. Walk away for an hour and just do something else. Sit down, maybe watch some TV. Let your mind kind of reset, because tuning the car, you really need to have the focus of what you're doing. And when you're rushed and your blood pressure's up and you're tense, you're pushing it. You're pushing the result that's you're not going to be happy with it. I can tell you right now. We've done it, and that's why we don't like to do it that way. It's like, oh, I got to have the car. It's like, all right, well, you're going to get the car and the tune's going to suck because you're going to make me rush through it, and I personally won't be happy with it. But but if that's just what you're dealing with, it's what you're dealing with. But if you have the opportunity, just walk away from it. You think AC is going to make an 8-channel? So the unofficial answer to that question is yes, they are making an 8-channel. Seen pictures of it. When will we actually see an 8-channel? It's going to be a non-DSP'd 8-channel. It's going to be more geared towards marine in the sense that it's going to be like conformal coated, have an IP6 rating, but it's still going to be an 8-channel amplifier. It's going to have like a ton of power, probably some form of multi-zone capability. That's the unofficial response to it, and the only reason why I can say that is because they have mentioned it in something that we weren't involved in, and it was, it was open to a certain amount of people, and we didn't have to sign an NDA. When we'll see that product, you're still probably realistically 18 months. 18 months, easy 18 months. So it's not even worth getting excited about. If you want an 8-channel audio control, buy 2 ACM 4.300s. That's your best bet for an 8-channel. It's going to be the same amount of power as a Forza, and it'll probably take up the same amount of space. So get a DMA10. All right. How would you set crossovers from a DSP to a coaxial speaker? Well, okay, so that sounds like it's a way more complicated question than it actually is. Coaxials are passive, either way you want to look at it, okay? So where you have a 5-channel amplifier like we've been talking about, and you have a right, left, front, rear, and you have a coaxial on one, you have a set of passives on the fronts, you're just setting the bottom. So you're essentially just setting the high-pass crossover to it. There again, depends on what you're looking for, but my typical system is going to be 80 hertz for the front speakers, 110 for the rear speakers, and then 80 and down for the subwoofer. That's usually how I run my systems. And then I deviate from there if need be. Sometimes I'll go up on the rear speakers, sometimes I'll go down, but it's a rear speaker. So I don't really, it depends on how I need it to work with the front speakers. It depends on what that customer's goal and what he's trying to do. It's going to depend on where that crossover is. If I'm looking for overall system loudness, meaning it's like I don't care about spatial awareness, I just want sound, then front and rear will both be at 80 or front and rear will both be at 110. Usually it'll probably go higher just because that type of system, we know how it's going to be used and it's going to be beat up. And so we don't want to have any issues. So I might go 110 at 12 dB on all four and just let it just like play out and be vicious and just have fun with it. But if we're building something that it's like, no, we want staging and we want delay and we want all those fun things, then I'll let them be just rear effects channel. So I'll leave them sometime, they'll go for 110, maybe up to 125, depending on how much mid bass is coming through them that might screw up the front mid bass and steer it towards the rear, which I don't want to have happen. Which wiring harness do I need for the 2020 Fusion without Sony? You might want to check on Maestro's page and see if the DFO2 will work. So head over to idatalink.com or idata/maestro.com, or just go to idatalink.com and see if the DFO2 will work. See what that does for you. Rockford Fosgate P600 amp or Helix M4 amp for Blam signature speakers. I have to feel like the MSC guys would just want to stab me if I recommended anything other than the Helix amplifier. So I would probably go with the Helix amplifier. It's a spectacular amplifier. Neither one of them are bad, but I feel when we're talking punch or Helix, I'm gonna go Helix. How big is the shop? It's one bay. It's like, I don't think I've ever measured it. It's like 30 by 20 or something like that. It's really kind of small. It's, that's the sidewall. That's the other side wall. That's the front of the shop. There's the door to get out. There's a little waiting room up front. And then there's the one car bay. So it's enough room for one truck, you know, and we have some room up front here that we can move stuff around. We've been leaving this table, let me do this. We've been leaving this table here. We bought 2 of these. So these are the tables we use in the video. So we have one, this was the original one we have, which is right here with our 2 chairs. These are the 2 chairs. So when we do the Monday show, we grab these 2 chairs, or we grab the table and we bring those in the back. Right now, this is basically just storage because with COVID, no one sits up here. So hopefully no one will ever sit up here again. We'll get rid of these couches and actually use it for something. It would be nice, or just blow this wall out. And I don't know. I'm trying to get this room to go so I can get like a CNC machine or something to go in there. But you know, space is at a premium. So these are, you know, wire, because like wire is a commodity right now. So we have it kind of stacked everywhere, and the loom, like here's all the braided loom and stuff. This has been so this is the remnants of this week. It has just been back-to-back, 3 cars, 3 big jobs, go, 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 go. So it's like, you know, there's an empty box. And so today, hopefully before we go live, like there's some trash over here, we'll clean all this out and get ready for Monday. Here's your dual router stations, or I'm sorry, 3 router stations. This one is just a small for micro router with a Mobile Solutions roundover bit. So after you do the plastic, this one doesn't have vacuum capability, so that's what this is for. So you can just sweep stuff in. This typically just has this big bit here to, you know, put a little edge in something. This is the 4-bearing Mobile Solutions flush trim bit. This thing is awesome. Like, this is awesome. Like, if you got to have any bit, this is the one you want. They make a dual bearing one that's cheaper and kind of like the day-to-day grind. But this one is really nice if you're, you know, trying to router something out that's like got a lot of levels to it. So we put it in for something, and then I still haven't taken it out. And then of course we have more bits here and templates and circle jigs. A lot of the stuff doesn't get used. That's why it's up so high, because like the laser is kind of taking place of most of this stuff. We have a couple handheld routers left. We used to have more of them over here. If you guys ever watched the show before, we had like 4 or 5 routers that were all here. They weren't getting used, so I took them home. They were mine anyway, so I just took them home, and like they're sitting there getting dusty, and that gave us room so we can expand the product placement wall. Everything that's on here is product placement. There's no like, hey, what a coincidence. No, Kicker sent us that. Sound Digital sent us that. That's the prototype 5K Evo X that we made our own custom logo for. You know, that's this guy right here. JBL sent us that to test, which we haven't tested yet because I got rid of the car to test it in, so we'll test it in something else. This is going to be going, I think we decided we're going to put this in Haley's car. Ground Digital was a sponsor of the show last year for about 3 months. So there was that. This was a thank you present. So this was when we shot that Kicker, when we shot the Kicker trip video. This is one of the things that they sent me to thank me for doing that, because they didn't pay me to do that. It was just like, it was a coincidence. They were doing something there. I was coming out. I pitched this idea. So they were like, well, screw it. You don't have to do this. You're going to shoot this video you want to do, and we think that'll be cooler. And I was like, yes. So to thank me for the video, Steve Irby signed this and sent me this. This is a non-working Warhorse, which I'm fine with. It doesn't need to work. It just looks badass. And to me, that's more important. So Audio Control pays for the sponsorship on this wall right here. This is them, and so does these guys. But you have to keep in mind, anytime we take a sponsorship from anybody, it has to be a product that we believe in. If it's not, it's just not fun, you know? So, you know, when we endorse something, we endorse it because it doesn't suck. I'm way too picky to get involved in things that don't suck. You know, and it's actually easy to tell when we're like not into something, because we'll do an unboxing or something like that that's real basic and just an informative, like we have been approached to make like online instruction manuals, like here's how this works, which I'm fine with, because we're not giving you a review in the sense of like, hey, this is good, this is bad. No, all we're doing is giving you, okay, if you buy this product, here's how it works. which I think is as honest as you can be. If we review something, then it's us being honest. If we don't review it, then kind of take it as it is, because it's like, they didn't review it, so what did they think? We were paid to review it. We're just paid to make the instruction manual. So a lot of the times manufacturers will work with them because we ask for those things. Like, I wanted that JBL amplifier because that thing is freaking cool. JBL, I love working with those guys because everything they make is badass, and we just are pleasantly surprised every time we do one of those. And like, I will have the camera rolling because I want to get his reaction to it. So like, we don't listen to it with the camera off and get ready. No. The first time we hear it, you're there listening with us, because I want it to be genuine. If it blows us out of the water, I want you to be able to see that. If it doesn't blow us out of the water, then you're not going to see that result of us going, oh, this is badass. We're going to be like, okay, I mean, all right, this has been the unboxing of this product. Thank you so much for tuning in, because you have to be honest. I mean, that's the key to all of this. I mean, there's nothing in it if it's not. So, all right, I don't know how that. What's up from Iowa?
Hey.
Okay. Hi, Dean. Put the Dayton DSP on the wall. We gave the Dayton away. That's the only, we gave that thing away. Like, we tested it in Fernando's car. I paid for it, so I could be honest with however it was. That was one of those where we were like, this thing sucks. And I've continued to say this sucks because we paid for it. I bought it with my money, and we gave it away as fast as we could because I didn't like it. Here's the thing. And I was thinking about this last night, Fernando, because, Hi-Fi was talking about how somebody got, 5th place with a Dayton DSP. And I was like, or he got 4th place or something like that. And I was like, so there was 4 at SQology.
All right.
Well, I was like, so there was 4 cars in the class? You took 4th place because there was 4 cars. I don't know. That's just, but you guys know how I feel about the Dayton DSP. We got a how-to video up. I'm kind of done talking about the Dayton DSP.
Okay, no. Like, if it works for you.
Yeah. Well, the thing is this. I don't want, Dayton makes good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay? As a company as a whole, they make great speakers. They have a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be the guy responsible for people thinking that they make crap.
Right.
Because they don't. Does everybody make something that is 100% always awesome? God, no, man.
No.
Come on. You can't do that as a manufacturer. No. Not everything is going to make it over the fence, man.
And like I said, if for some people it works fine. A lot of people are like, hey, I have a Dayton DSP, works fine for me. I don't have.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Works for you.
Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy Ritz crackers, baby. It's just a cracker. You haven't tasted a better cracker yet, and that's the best cracker there is. But the thing is I have no problem with Dayton. I like some of their stuff.
Yeah.
I like a lot of their stuff. I think it's cool. Dude, years ago, I bought in that little 5-inch subwoofer because I saw somebody, they had a 15 in a car and they blew it. And so they made a ring and they put the Dayton Audio Neo 5-inch woofer into it. And it was pounding like stupid. So I had Paul buy one and I put it in a 112 ported box and played it over there. And I was like, holy shit, this actually works. I don't know how long it would last, in the real world. I'm sure you'd only get a week out of it because, you're used to a 15 and you're playing a 5.
Yeah.
But, insanity. So, aloha from Hawaii. I know, man, right?
From Hawaii, man.
I was supposed to be there this summer. I'll be there next year. I'd use it as a paperweight. I don't want to be that mean to the paper. Yeah, their subs are dope, right? That's what I'm saying. I mean, and there's the thing. I don't want to take anything away from the brand just because I don't like the one thing they make. I mean, that just sounds silly to me. Yeah, I haven't tasted a better cracker. I know, I love that. Dayton DSR1, yes. Oh, yeah, for sure. If you can get a DSR1, because right now, DSR1s, hard to find, man. There again, thanks to the AKM chip burning down, everyone's been buying everyone else's chips, and these chip manufacturers are not loyal at all. They don't care. Yes, and if you're wondering what pulled in behind me, a Jeep! Yay! We get a Jeep! Woo! I think we should make sure this one doesn't have the USB on the front like last time. It doesn't have a USB in the armrest?
Nope.
Oh, okay, it doesn't have the mic up here. Cool. I need 150 on the Elates, maybe 4-channel ACM bridged, or maybe get the 4-channel Morel amplifier, unless you just need something small. But the 4-channel Morel amplifier, AB class, it's what they sent me to put on them, so there you go. Morel tenants, Ultimo, SC sub, or ported or sealed. There again, man, I like ported. I like big fat bass, so ported it is. What harness for a Civic 2019 non-EX, non-premium to get into the DM608 and a 5-channel amp, then back to the factory harness to the speakers, no cutting wires, leased car. All right, so Metra used to make a T-harness for that car. I don't think it's available anymore. So what you're going to want to do is go to their site. All right, go to metraonline.com. Type in a 2019 Honda Civic. You're going to find a 70-4 digits, and you're going to find a 71-4 digits. If they don't make the T-harness for it anymore, I don't think anyone else makes one. So buy 270s and buy 171. Also, check Audison's website and see if they have one. And also check Helix's website and see if they offer one. Because those manufacturers are now starting to make T-harnesses or buy T-harnesses for installation. So if you can't find it from either one of those and Metra stopped making it, buy 270s, 171, and you'll be able to make a T-harness. The reason why you need 270s is because the 71, they pin the complete harness. The 71, they pin the complete harness. The 70, they don't. So you'll probably have to rob some pins out of it to add in pins where the factory pins are. So there you go. All right, guys, listen, this has been 5 Minutes with 5 Star. Make sure to tune in tonight at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to the YouTube channel where we can answer more questions and have lots of fun and kind of end out the week with fun and excitement. You guys have a great week as always. Fernando's on the phone, so I'll say bye for him. See ya.